We're live, and welcome everybody. I want to. This is my very first. It's my very first book stream. So this is my very first book related stream. Well, I mean, once again, like I am very grateful for collaborating with my three co-panelists who have basically kind of convinced me to revisit Wheel of Time because I read Wheel of Time. I read the first book, Eye of the World, about 4 or 5 years ago, shortly after reading. I read the Song of Ice and Fire series. I read the Dark Tower series, a whole bunch of Stephen King stuff. I've even read freaking Watership Down. And I tried reading this first book, this Eye of the World, and believe it or not, and you guys are going to hate me for this. I I didn't really feel the urge to keep reading, and then I just read other stuff. So, but yeah, so that's why I'm here. And before I introduce the co-panelists, I want to say hello to El Dan. El Dan's here. Now, this is a way to spend a Monday morning. Oh, it's Monday by you? Oh, nice, nice. I don't know, man and Maneth. I don't know who that is. Pips, I don't know what this is. And got Dempsey here. Thank you, Dempsey. You are awesome. So without further ado, I want to introduce for the very first time on any Nerdporeal stream, the one, the only, the man of Manethrin. What is up, Nathan? How you doing?
I'm living the dream, brother. How about yourself?
Me? Well, like I said during the pre-show, I was scrambling to get done with chapter 19. I was reading all day today, so I was either reading today or I was making the thumbnail or making the stream and making
Yeah,
the opening. So, can you
it,
guess what
it's
music
okay.
I can you guess what music I use for this opening? It's from a
Well,
video game.
yeah, that was uh oh shoot, Skyrim.
That was from Skyrim. Yep.
Yeah,
I couldn't
great
think of
song.
anything more medieval sounding than that. But yeah, welcome. So I got a question for you. How did you first come by Wheel of Time or come by reading Wheel of Time?
Well, that was all the way back in college. A buddy of mine was reading a bunch of Robert Jordan stuff and told me that I need to pick it up. It's really great stuff, and so I ended up picking up Eye of the World, and it was one of those things where I typically at that point in time I was reading like espionage Tom Clancy type stuff. And so I read read it, portions of it, and then stopped, and then picked it up later again, and then stopped, and picked it up later again, stopped. And so I didn't get I read like the first hundred or so pages like four times before I powered through it and said, okay, I'm going to continue on. And then by the time I got through the fifth or sixth book, wife and family happened, and and then I put it on the shelf for a while, and then finally picked it up before the show started, got through it all, and uh, didn't regret it. And then I regretted watching the show.
And we'll get to that. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Nathan. But and my next co-panelist, you know him, you love him. He hunts dark friends during on the web, and he walks in the light. Let's welcome Pips. What's up, Pips?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks again for having me on. It's always a blast. So you actually met some White Cloaks during this section of the book. So we're gonna get your read on Dane Bornhold, who's I don't think he's in the chat here, but you meet him. You meet some of the children
I
of the light.
I was thinking of him. I was
Yep.
actually envisioning Dane when reading that part of the
Oh
chapter
yeah.
in Barrelon. I was just thinking like just thinking of him just acting all nasty and everything. So I was just like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So
And for Dempsey in the chat, here we go. This is what I'm drinking today. I got some Garrison Brothers Texas Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's a rye mash, pretty tasty.
I'm wondering what I should choose today. Bourbon or
Go with the
Canadian?
makers. We can both be drinking bourbon.
All right. Now the question is, can I open this?
Uh, but yeah, so while you're doing that, I'll answer the same question that you asked Nate. I started reading the Wheel of Time probably in I guess early high school, like freshman or sophomore year. Um, and I got introduced to it by my brother, who I'm actually not sure where he got introduced to it, but I think it's a series that resonated a lot more with me than it did with him. I guess I've read the series Lots of times. I think I've read or audiobooked the last 3 books. I think at least 3 or 4 times, and then I did sort of sequential rereads as the books came out. So like Eye of the World, I've probably read, I don't know, somewhere between like 7 and 10 times or so. Yeah, so I've read the series a ton, and I always love talking about this series. It is a fantastic read. Anyone in the chat who's sitting there asking why you'd read a series with 347 books, it's because it's great. It's one of the best fantasy stories out there.
You said 347 bucks.
That was one of the comments in chat.
It was rounding up.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Cool. All right. Which books did you have to wait for to read?
Oh man, I would have to go back and actually look at the timeline and see which one. I think I started reading in like 2004 or 2005 would have been like kind of freshman year, kind of end of junior high school, that sort of time period, probably about 2004, which I think would have put me just in time to actually have to wait for the slog. I'd have to go back and double check that. My years might be off as well, because I feel like I definitely had to wait for the last 2 or 3 of Robert Jordan's books. So
yeah, I think at that time I was reading, like I was telling Nathan that around that time I was reading Sword of Shannara. I went and got that book, and I saw it. Looked at I literally judge a book by its cover, and I bought it, and I read it. And I was like, wow, this is very Lord of the Rings template. So, but I honestly never heard. I actually never heard of Wheel of Time until after I read like 2010s. Like I looked online for like best fantasy series, and I heard about this, and I was watching this one YouTuber. I know you guys all know him. He's associated with a particular color. He's associated with a particular color, and he talked about this Wheel of Time series. So I was just like, okay, that's kind of why I started reading it. It was because of not him. So it was his favorite series of all time. So, but yeah, thanks Pitch, for sharing that. And of course, last but not least, my streaming brother from another streaming mother, Steve. What's up, Steve?
Close enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's part of my opening. It's on the internet. It's forever known now.
Yeah, right. I mean, the internet never lies, right?
Yeah, this is hard to open. Okay, I got it. Stupid.
Did you make it?
I had a hard time last time too. So
hey, well,
I gotta show us. Port. There we go.
For those of you who are not aware, this is my negative influence or positive influence, however you want to look at it. I think positive. Trying to get our friend here to start drinking the finer whiskeys, and by that I mean really the finer alcohols, which is whiskey. And we're actually, I'll say it here so that we have to do it. We're planning on doing a stream. We're going to try a flight of different whiskeys, and we're gonna talk about the water of life, and it's gonna be a good time. So we have to just plan and figure out which ones we're gonna try.
Want to also say hello to my friend in real life, Brian Anderson. What's up? You missed a hell of a Halloween party yesterday. I'll just tell you that. The reason why my voice is hoarse right now is because I was doing a lot of karaoke singing. So, and I cannot get the proper tune up. So, or I can't get the proper pitch. So I sound like a broken record. So yeah. So all right. So Steve, tell us about your journey or how you discovered Wheel of Time.
I mean,
TV show.
Yeah, exactly. I heard about this great TV show, and then I vomited.
10 of 10.
No, similar. It sounds like similar to Pips, but my brother was heavy into fantasy, and started me off reading something simple, David Eddings, and then once I read through all of that and was enjoying it, he obviously was eager to get me into to the Wheel of Time, just because at that point I think we're waiting for Winter's Heart, I think, when I started reading it, but a lot of theories about who did what and who could have done this and that was going around, and we got pretty involved in theory crafting and trying to figure out what was happening before the books came out. I thought that was quite a bit of fun. Just trying to pick up on the story threads and see try and figure out together what was going to happen next. We were wrong more times than we were right, but so what? That was the fun in it, was sort of just trying to figure out what was going to happen next, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and then from there, just delved headlong into fantasies. I've read, I don't know how many times I've read it, but I've funny enough, I probably read the first 8, 9 more than I've read the last past Crossroads of Twilight, just because something always seems to come up as I'm in the middle of a reread. So I don't like starting anything in the middle. So if I feel like I'm going to reread it, I start at the beginning again and get to a certain point, and then something else comes out, and I gotta read that. So, but yeah, I've read it a ton of times too. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty near and dear to my heart, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's another besides all three. I mean all three are the reason why I'm reading this. So you guys are a bad influence on. You guys are a bad fucking influence on me. Yeah, damn the whiskey too. So.
Cheers.
So, well, I want to say welcome to Shelby AC. Thanks for coming by. I will answer this question before we get into talking about Eye of the World. When I sing at karaoke, I sang "She Loves You." Yeah, yeah, yeah. I sang that. I sang the House of the Rising Sun. I sang "Lose Yourself." I sang "I Got It." I'm gonna get high. I'm gonna get high song.
This is
I
all
sang
before
that.
you ripped your shirt off and started streaking, right?
Yeah. I mean, there were Jello. Let's just say there were Jello shots at this party. There was Pips, you're gonna hate me, but I actually had honey. I had that Tennessee honey whiskey. With Coke,
my wife drinks that. She doesn't do it with Coke, but it makes a great hot toddy.
It was disgustingly sweet. Like I was like I drank it because I didn't want to waste it. I didn't want to waste it, but like it was, I probably won't have it. I probably won't likely have it again.
Like I said, the only thing it's good for is a hot toddy, which it makes a good hot toddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I don't know what else. I think there was like an apple pie shot I did. So I was freaking.
You were in it.
I was
you were just going for it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm generally a good person. I generally don't drink. So this
I see Dempsey in the chat as another man of culture. I also do Friends in Low Places, Sweet Caroline. Any song where I sing less and the bar just starts singing it with you is high quality karaoke for me, because I have a horse's singing voice.
Well, my voice is literally hoarse right now. So I think what killed my voice was trying to sing "Don't Stop Me Now." That was because I wanted to have a good time. What can I say? And by the way, Queen's my favorite classic.
I only ever do Bohemian Rhapsody, again for the same reason, that no one even knows that I'm singing it by the end.
So Al Dan brings up a great thing. I think this is a great way to start this off. All hail the Lord Dragon.
Damn right.
So the dragon thing. So I'm trying to understand. The dragon thing originated with Luz Theron Telamon, I believe, in the prologue. He's the first one. So, like they say, this is a wheel of time. So everything is cyclical. So there's been multiple dragons. So what exactly is the dragon? Is it supposed to be like a savior, kind of like like a Christ-like figure?
I don't know whether I'd necessarily agree with Christ-like figure, but it's the fantasy trope of sort of the chosen one, right?
Yeah.
So he's the light's champion in the sort of ongoing and ever sort of returning fight against the dark one. And if you do the audiobooks ever, and people who've done the audiobooks know this, so Robert Jordan does a little interview at the end of each audiobook, and he talks about one of his motives for the series, and he describes it saying that he wanted to write the story where someone walks up to just a good old boy and tells him, by the way, you're the chosen one. And this guy's like, yeah, sure. Great. Right. Like, I totally believe you, buddy. Also, why don't you just, walk outside, and I'm going to go back over and, get some more drinks at the bar. Right.
You said good old boy. So I don't know if you've ever seen the Blues Brothers.
I have.
Okay, then the first thing I thought was if somebody went up to a good old boy and said, "You're the savior," you'd be like, "Don't you say a fucking word." That's what I was. That's the part one I was thinking. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
I
So
mean
keep
honestly,
going.
I think that's kind of the
Well,
approach he took to the story, which is
Yeah.
that like you wouldn't believe it and you wouldn't necessarily want it, right? And so I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that he took the common trope and he put a little bit of a twist on it.
Well, I think that there's several times within the series that it's shown that just because you are the dragon doesn't mean that you're a good guy. The dragon is almost a mantle of power, I guess. I mean, more than he's supposed to be the champion of light, but that doesn't mean that he is perfect in all turnings of the wheel. It doesn't mean he's the good guy. There are turnings where he's not. So now, we think, it's one of those, is that manipulation by one of the Forsaken, like trying to make us think he's, he could be corrupted. You don't really know, but it's one of those, he is supposed to be the champion of light. I don't know, but I guess you could call him Christ. I don't know. I never really,
I mean, like
he's
what?
just he's the hero we should all strive to be.
I mean,
And
ultimately, it's the self-sacrifice to save the world kind of thing. So to that extent, yes, he's a Christ figure, but he's not supposed to be the creator. He's not supposed to be, so he doesn't check all the boxes of a sort of messianic figure in my mind.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, it's close. I mean, it's close enough, right? I mean, it's it's sort of, you're supposed to sort of think of that, but I mean, not really in the same light. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know. He is supposed to save the world, so I mean, I mean, he's either destined to destroy it or save it. So I mean, it's like, I mean,
he's destined. Like he's destined to both.
Well, yes, true.
Yeah,
that's the twist.
He's kind of like the king's champion, and he's the representation of that of the creator sent to resolve the issue, and so that's what he does.
Oh, interesting. So I'm curious. were there other stories, like other fantasy series that had this? Had a chosen one. So I can't think of any. Lord of the Rings didn't really have a chosen one. I mean,
almost every single one ever made.
Almost every single one ever made.
I will say that I think Dune gets a lot of parallels drawn.
Oh yeah, Dune. Yeah, I mean, Dune's more science fiction, but yeah.
Well, sort of truth. It's sort of the same story, only different. If you ask good kind.
Yeah, I mean, you have Paul Atreides, Muad'Dib. Yeah. I gotta read that book too.
Dune's good.
Orange Catholic Bible, baby. I'll say that. That's why I always thought it was more science fiction, because they had, there was elements of, our world or something in that story. Like that's years in the future. At least that's what I always thought of it. Never thought of it as a fantasy like Star Wars or something. So, all right. So
which gets us right back into Wheel of Time.
Yeah, gets right back in the Wheel of Time. So, so basically, what happens in the prologue is he, the dragon, or Lews Therin. Why is he called the dragon? Is it because his banner is the dragon or something?
It's just a title. It's not really. I don't know. Is it really even? I don't know that it's ever really addressed why he's named the dragon, other than that's just his title. And it's one of those things. I know that, and I try to stress it to anybody that's first time reading Eye of the World, is the prologue. You will be probably confused as all hell until you get about, I don't know. I don't even know how far until it starts sort of going, oh, okay, this is starting to make a little bit more sense.
Lews Therin is mentioned in, because I just read this today, the chapter where Rand dreams and he meets Balsamon. Or is it Balsamon or is it Baalzamon? If it even matters.
Either or. I mean, I've always said Baalzamon, but I mean.
So I've always said Baalzamon because sort of the Baalzebub, right, for Satan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of things like that with Robert Jordan, with names especially, where he draws things in. So you haven't gotten to this in your reread, but you've read the book. So Gowan and Galad and some of the names there are very much like linked to Arthurian legend. There's a lot of pulls from Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of pulls from other fantasy, from mythology and lore. So he does a lot with names, especially to draw connections to characters. So I think that is an intentional link.
And it's funny. I think George stole a name from this book, Aemon, the king of Manetheren. Is the name of the kingdom Manetheren, or is that the name of the people, Manetheren, or is it both?
Both.
The kingdom, but yeah.
Yeah, so King Aemon, like Maester Aemon and Game of Thrones and everything. So yeah, just couldn't think of that. And of course, he had Thorin. I think King Thorin was the king of the Shader Logoth city before it was called whatever it was. I forget the name of it. I keep forgetting. I'm bad with names.
What?
Oh,
Aridhol?
Aridhol. Thank you. Yeah.
Aridhol.
I always, it's going to sound funny, but there was a city in Warcraft named pretty much close to the same thing, so I'd always get them mixed up. But I'm pretty sure it's Aridhol is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, that's how I pronounced it.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
So this dragon dude, Mr. Luce Theron, whatever, basically kills everybody. He's walking around and there's just nothing but a bunch of bodies. I think it's during the day or something. Yep. And all of a sudden this evil dude just like pops in. I don't know if I'm assuming he just pops in and he's like, you did this, you killed everybody, and I want to see you suffer. And then he does a Mother Talzin on him, and he loses all of his insanity, and then he's like, oh, I did this shit, oh fuck me, I'm ending it, I'm like that, lava and mountains and fire from the sky, or fire, lightning, or whatever it was. And that's basically
he freaking turns into he makes himself a volcano. I mean, like, is that on a badass way to go out or not? I mean,
yeah. I mean, like, it's because of lava. Like, it's kind of like Mount Doom and some power, rings of power. Lava just comes out and just forms the.
Somebody dropped a bunch of water on Lewis there and Telmon, and he turned into a mountain. Is that what you're saying?
He's like a gremlin.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be a gremlin. A gremlin. So that's the prologue. I mean, it's there. Like, I'm just curious. Like, do you think it was necessary to put that? Like, do you think that prologue was necessary to be there? I think it would have been more interesting to put it later in. We learned a little bit more about the dragon. You don't think so?
Nope.
Nope. It's perfectly placed, I think. But
yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen it. We actually did a video, Dane Bornhold and I did, talking about the prologue. We broke it down as like a first time reader versus a second time or a rereader, and then why, like, what you lose if you don't have it, right? So what the prologue establishes for that first time reader is it establishes the War of the Shadow. It establishes the Dark One's counterstroke and the taint on Sidene. It establishes a actual duality in terms of a moral system where there is a good sort of, the light, the creator, and the Dark One, right? This is not it's not a sort of philosophical thing. It's not man-made. It's not, depending on what your view of sort of world religions are, it's not, modern world religions. This is a thing that is universally accepted and known by everyone who lives in this universe. So the Dark One is very much real. He affects the world. One of the ways he affected it is the taint. And the taint has driven male Aes Sedai and then male channelers mad. And it establishes the stakes, right? So if you don't have the prologue and you don't show the dragon and his capacity for destruction, the fact that he was a kinslayer, if you don't show that beforehand, then you don't understand the negatives and the downside of being the chosen one, which is the whole narrative purpose, like we said, that Robert Jordan was trying to give.
Mm-hmm. Almost every single person on, well, I guess it's Randland. I don't know did they ever really name the main? That's one of the things that always bothered me. Did they ever really name the continent besides for that they're in? I don't think they did. We always just call it Randland. It's so strange, but Everybody in Randland and beyond is afraid of the dragon. Whoa!
I went down wrong. Excuse me.
Wow!
Excuse me.
You
Sorry.
lush? Holy
Ac-
crap!
After
I'm
you
not
do
a
that,
lu-
you
I'm
have
not a
to you have
lush.
to you have to gasp like you're sort of Sauron getting stabbed in the back, and then you have to say smooth, so smooth.
Oh boy! But it just, I think it shows you the power of the dragon, and then just the fact that why he's so feared.
Yeah.
And not a beloved. He's not this beloved figure. He is feared by the masses because of his power and what he did and what happened because of what he had to do with the 100 companions, and just the results of that. And even though saving the world was what happened, there
I
was
don't
a mass.
understand the 100 companions or the like. What was that?
I'm trying to
like
think if it's gonna spoil anything later for you. But the 100 companions is basically 100 of the strongest male channelers, Aes Sedai. I mean, their male channelers were also Aes Sedai. That they went to try to seal the bore against the wishes of the female channelers.
Yeah, I don't think it spoils anything. There's a short you can Google "Strike on Shale Ghul." It
Yep.
was a blog post that Robert Jordan released, I think originally, and it's been published since. But you can find it on Tor's website. I encourage anyone who hasn't read it to go read it. It's pretty short; it takes about 5 or 10 minutes, and it's a historian looking at scraps of notes and things like that about the strike on Shale Ghul. And it breaks down the 100 companions, which actually weren't 100. I think they were 113. Maybe 114, but
Yeah.
so like you said, it establishes all that. It also it establishes the breaking, right? So the breaking is hugely important to the world, and showing you a glimpse of the cataclysm that is the breaking of a male channeler going mad, and you'll see more of it later in the series, is important. It's something that you need to see.
Well, yeah, I wasn't sure what they meant. I wasn't sure what they exactly meant by breaking of the world.
So just imagine that there are thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people like Luz Theron that all go mad. So
some of them instantly. Some of them went mad instantly. So the 100 companions, strong male channelers, went to the board. They struck the Dark One, sealed them up. Dark One's counterstroke drives men, some over time mad, some instantly mad. So just think of men all over the planet going mad instantly and erupting into mountains. Literally sundering land in two, reshaping the world. Chaos.
And it lasted 300 years. So basically for 300 years, the entire world was being ripped apart on the level of what you see in the prologue.
So guy just turns into a volcano, or guy just causes himself to kill himself or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a strong male channeler that is going crazy and just absorbs as much of the one power as he can, he's gonna blow up some shit.
Okay, my question is, he did that after he was released from his insanity. Did this guy do the same thing to all those other people?
Oh no,
Ishmael guy.
No.
So he suicided because he had killed his family, and he realized that the sin that he had committed. Right. Yeah. All of the other male channelers, and you'll see this later in the series, but imagine that they're hearing voices, seeing visions. They're just going insane, like they have sort of schizophrenia or something like that. So now imagine that you give a schizophrenic person the destructive capacity of a tactical nuke, and he just gets to walk around and just lightning bolts and let's just destroy things. So you've read up to Shadar Logoth, right? So you see what Moraine does in terms of opening up the ground and gouts of fire and things like that. Now imagine somebody who is even more strongly attuned to fire and earth being
that's the Sidene, that's the man that's the male. So those are the only two, or those are the two elements that the male side of things is stronger.
Yep.
Whereas I think there are 5. There are 5 elements, right? There's fire, earth, wind, water, and what was the 5th one? Spirit. What is spirit exactly? Is that holy, or what exactly is spirit?
They don't really. I mean, I guess they don't really say what is they're all weaved together to make weaves, to make flows, to make. So it's like, you may use spirit in this to channel, spirit mixed with water may cause you to heal a wound or something.
Okay, so
it's all about,
it's a healing type.
It's not necessarily healing. You're taking all of these elements, all of these flows, all of these different threads, weaving them together to create a spell. So you take some fire, take some earth, you take some this, and you have a fire spell. So spirit isn't necessarily to its own. You don't just like channel spirit and you heal somebody. It has to be weaved into a spell.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You'll get a lot
pattern.
Yeah, you'll get a lot more of this later with, White Tower training scenes and things like that. But the easiest way to say it is that the more complex the weave, the more likely that it uses all 5 elements. So, really complex things are a weaving of pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Very simple things like just using a fireball or something like that is typically just going to be fire and air, right? So, simple things are simpler, and then the more complex they get, the more elements have to be tied together, and that kind of muddies the water of what they individually do.
Okay, I don't fully get
dangerous.
I don't fully get the magic system or
well,
whatever. I'm not used to understanding magic systems.
Just think about just knitting together a sweater. It doesn't just, you're going to have to take many threads, weave them together to make the sweater. So just because you're going to have to take to make a healings, to heal somebody, maybe you got to take spirit, you got to weave it with this, and then you can heal. So it's one of those, it's not necessarily that spirit is attuned to anyone. Maybe you use more, maybe you do, but it doesn't really specifically tell you that spirit is more of this. It's just more, women are more adept at spirit and air and water, and men are earth and fire, because those tend to be more of the. Oh wait, what air is fire and earth, right?
Yeah, spirit is equal. So spirit is equal between, and then fire and earth are male, and water and air are female. Yeah.
Okay. So what happens if you combine spirit and air? Do you get a shitty flight?
Who knows?
Do you get the joke? I guess you don't.
I got that. That was good. I've had them. They've canceled. They've
Oh, I
canceled
got
my
you,
flights and left me stranded places.
Yeah, and
before.
I don't think they refund. That's why I do Southwest.
They do, depending on the cancellation, but yeah. I got stuck for 3 nights in Vegas once.
Want to say hello to Daniel? He says, "Oh,
Home
sweet, is Steve
economics.
talking home economics?"
Am I? I don't know. I guess so.
I don't know. You're talking men and women, so you must be a biologist.
Well, yeah. I thought
the
that went without saying.
The views here don't necessarily reflect the entire panel. Just saying. So
hey, I said nothing that I couldn't have said in front of Congress.
just saying. So all right, so that's okay. So that's the prologue. Okay, so the prologue. Okay, it's a lot more clear to me now. Thanks guys for making that clear to me, because I was confused. I was confused at first. So
you will be. I mean, it'll make more sense the further you get in, and you'll start going, oh, okay.
Well,
it is one of the reasons why
the prologue is the best thing about the prologue is the first reread, because then you're just like, oh shit, and everything just like is opened up. You're wide-eyed to it, and you're like, this is an absolute phenomenal atom bomb to open a series, because you're just introduced to straight up madness, and you were thinking, well, what the hell did I just read?
Now you're talking about reread after reading the entire series, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it's not just reading the first book. Okay.
It's something that we've talked about in the Discord, and I've talked with other people about. I think Eye of the World is one of those books that it's strange, because people who read the series once tend to not really like Eye of the World. They tend to say that Eye of the World is one of the weaker books in the series. And you saw this with people defending the show about how, well, Eye of the World isn't really even that good of a book. So like, no, don't worry about all that Eye of the World stuff. We're just going to do whatever we want to do, and we'll fix the Eye of the World, right?
Just like Star Wars, just like original Star Wars. Well, they made mistakes too, you know. I mean, come on, like Force Awakens is good, Last Jedi is good. Shut up, shut up. You know, sorry. But I get that stupid. I hate that stupid.
Well, what I was going to say is that the thing that I've noticed is that people who have read the series once tend to have that view, right? Because like you're saying, it's a little bit confusing, right? people who have read the series multiple times and have, finished the series complete and then reread The Eye of the World, The Eye of the World tends to actually be one of their favorites. It tends to be in kind of the top third of the sort of series of books in terms of what books they like and prefer. And it's because there's so much foreshadowing, there's so much world building, there's so much sort of stuff that happens that you don't understand when you read it the first time. And then you realize, like, holy, like, something that happened in book 9 was like directly set up in book 1.
Oh wow! I like that sound of that. I like it when
authors
do
he
that.
is so thorough with all of that. And like the other thing that you catch with all this stuff is just the absolute chads of male characters that are in this book, because all of a sudden,
to,
I just
So
out
good.
of nowhere, Gil in later chapters,
Basil Gill.
just throws Basil Gill throws
Basil
out
Gill
this
is the
line when you
fucking
first
man.
meet him. But when you first meet him, he just kind of throws out this line to Rand and Matt, and you're just kind of like, holy shit, that was awesome. You're just like, yep, that's right.
Well, even I mean, it's crazy. It's like you end up falling in love with even like and I think that's probably not. I'm not going to go make a hard right turn into the show, but it's probably why some of the things they did in the show hurt so much to a lot of people was the secondary characters. Not even the secondary. I'd even say the background characters that you don't even get a lot of, like Master Lewin and Matt's father and well, Tam later on you get a little bit more of, but Tam Althor. These are important characters on very many levels. And to just disregard them is just preposterous. And you love them for different reasons, because they got a lot to offer, even being background characters like that. I mean, Perrin it refers to Master Lewin and Mistress Lewin, I don't know, about 2 million times in the books because of all the lessons that they instilled onto him.
Because he's Perrin's the apprentice of Master Lewin's basically he's the blacksmith of Emmonsfield, and so like he's kind of like he's a I don't think we ever meet parents. We don't ever meet parents.
Before we answer this question and go into any further, I think we should establish what is your level of spoiler expectation for this conversation.
Well,
because we can very quickly veer off.
I read the first book, so I mean, I read the first book already, so I know what happens.
Do you want to keep it just to The Eye of the World then? Or are you okay with, getting stuff spoiled? I mean, I don't know what you want.
I mean,
we should probably try and keep it to The Eye of the World. That's sort of the point.
I would do the same.
Right?
Yeah, because this will end up being more than 2 hours.
We can go deep. So it's like, and that sounds, ladies.
Yeah, but, let's leave it at Eye of the World. I mean, I do want to discover the rest of the series myself. And of course,
so yeah, Perrin's family, there's,
so we'll learn more about them in the future. Is that what you're saying?
Read and find out.
Yeah, read and find out.
All right,
you're gonna hear us say read and find out a lot. You've opened up the Raffo sort of floodgates.
You have, yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's fine.
Yeah.
But
not much on Perrin's family in the first book.
Okay, I was just okay. So I'll keep that in mind.
And I think it's fair to say that Master Luhan is basically father figure for Perrin. I think that's he spends a lot of time there. So
in a lot of ways, yeah.
Interesting. All right. So we're done with we spent a good amount of time on the prologue. So let's we have hour 20 minutes to go through 19 chapters. Well, not quite 19 chapters, just it'll just be a typical discussion. So here we go. So we meet Rand al'Thor, and Rand al'Thor is like this really, he looks different from everybody else. He's not quite your Emmonsfield, or he doesn't look like those what do they call him, South folk, or what do the people over the Terran call them, like the Southern sheep herders, or what do they call them? I keep forgetting what they call them. But like they're all brown. I think they're all brown of hair and brown of eyes, I believe is the description. So like Rand is like he's a ginger, he's redheaded, and he's got gray eyes, and he's like super duper tall. He's like I think the tallest person in the village. So obviously he's different from everybody else. Mm-hmm. And we meet him on the way. So they're him and his father Tam, and him and his father Tam are basically they're trying to deliver. I think was it brandy? Was it brandy, or was it like
brandy? I think it was,
or cider. It was one of the
apple. Brandy. It was brandy. I think it was.
Okay, it was brandy. Okay,
apple brandy.
And all of a sudden, like, he's got this.
Sounds really tasty.
He's got his bow out and everything. And
Everybody
he's
loves
like,
that apple brandy. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's this black hooded figure. And what's weird is What's weird is maybe I was not paying attention to my reading. That's probably how it was the first time for me. I probably didn't pay attention, but I didn't realize that hooded figure was actually Murdral, and I can smack myself in the head for not realizing it the first time. But after rereading it,
Dark
now
Rider.
I tend to pay more attention to details now.
It starts right from the first few pages, man. Like, you already know that something is after Randall Thor. And
yeah,
then,
like just the setting itself, it's just so, like I said in Discord, it's so foreboding. It's cold, it's windy, it's winter. I mean,
the seasons are wrong. The seasons are wrong too. So it's winter when it should be spring. There's this dark rider. There's wolves come down from the mountains. People are losing their flocks to wild animals, they think, right? There's a lot of stuff going on.
I got a question
And
about
the cloak
wolves.
is not moving in the wind.
Are wolves? Do wolves have anything to do
We're
with?
gonna find out.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, my bad. All right, I figured.
Sorry, I'm just gonna cut you off. Wolves, read and find out. Wolves are
That
All
one
right,
is
so
a really important question that does get answered.
Because I mean, after 19 chapters, I must have heard so much about like wolves and wolves attacking people. And
read and find out.
Yes, my stream brother.
Read and find out. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wolves are. We'll just put it this way: wolves are important.
Even
wolves
except for the Chicago wolves. They
or are they important?
Yeah, you might be.
Or are they? Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, man. I mean, let's be real, right? I mean, yes, wolves are significant. We'll just. I don't want to go any further than that.
He's read Eye of the World completely before, so he knows some of the stuff about wolves. The most interesting things about it, it's going to get expanded on a lot in the future, right? So you'll have to read and kind of see which direction it comes into.
You want to know the funny thing is, even if you've watched the whole entirety of the first season, you don't know shit about any wolves.
Not true. They can lick you and cure traumatic wounds.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. They have healing.
That's
properties.
critical.
Sorry.
I thought you said you weren't going to spoil the show for me.
I'm sorry.
The show spoils itself. It's like a rotten egg.
It's like how in your Discord, you're like okay with Wheel of Prime spoilers, but like when it comes to Wheel of Time spoilers, that's unacceptable.
That is generally the rule in the Discord. Yeah.
Spoils itself. I think that's the perfect way to put it. It's a shitty turd.
I can't wait to finish this book and watch that. Oh my gosh.
That
sounds great. So
I don't know why I don't know why you'd be so excited to hurt yourself like that, but
I told him I'd be there for support. So
it's called learning. It's called learning what's bad for me. Like, I need to be a little bit more critical. I think I need to refine. I need to really refine my critical, thinking and nature when it comes to shows. So I think watching something bad would actually give me the education I need.
I was gonna say it might give you brain damage.
Well, I mean, I listen to Pink Floyd, so if that doesn't give me brain damage, I don't know what. I love Pink Floyd, so
drinking helps that though, Brian.
Yeah, it's the great John Belushi once said to everybody: start drinking heavily. Cheers.
Yes, fat, drunk, and stupid is the way to go through life, son.
Mr. Blutarski.
Rather have a bottle in front of me than have to have a frontal lobotomy.
0.
That's right.
Daniel, man. Daniel, you think exactly like me. Just what a crying shame that they just left that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They even had the scene. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna get sidetracked. Sorry. Okay, so wolves, read and find out. Where are we going?
All right. Well, we're in, I guess we're in Emmons Field now, and
read and find out. Next thing.
Read and find out next week. I guess we're in Emmons Field now, and there's this. So Beltane is basically the harvest or something, or
it's probably something like a solstice or a
intro to spring festival type thing.
Okay, so I'm guessing it's an annual thing. They do it every year. It's so important to the village. So
there is a calendar of all the Wheel of Time sort of holidays and things like that. It's in one of the reference books behind me. I've never particularly cared to commit that to memory. Dane Bornhall, if he was in the chat, could probably tell us all about the importance of Beltane. But
yeah, so yeah, that's why they're in the village. And of course, what I mean, like, I'm just going to kind of skim the three chapters that are actually in the town. So, uh, so we meet Matt. We meet Matt Coffin. He's kind of the he may or may not be the village prankster. We just like isn't it, Pips? Is that what you say? We just don't know for sure if if he actually is a prankster. Is that what you always say?
I think no. I think at this point, the prankster title I think fits.
I think the only time we actually see him pull a prank was when like when he's in Barrelon, or he's in Barrelon, he sees the barrels, and I think he uses a sling and he throws something and knocks all the barrels down, and then that's how Rand meets
Dane Bornhold,
Dane Bornhold. So I wasn't sure if it was just I wasn't sure if his first name was Dane, because they just call him Bornhold in the chapters I've read. So I wasn't sure if
there
it was
are
just
two
a combination
Bornholds,
of Dane
so.
and
there
are
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we meet Egwene. She's the daughter of the mayor, Bran. I think it's Bran or Bram. I think it's Bran Alver. And of course we meet we don't meet Perrin until I think when the peddler comes in. The peddler, when the peddler comes in.
Yeah, I think it's a little different.
Mm-hmm. One thing I mean, one of my I do have a criticism. You guys might, I'm going to say this again. You guys might hate me for this, or might totally disagree with me. When they're traveling, after all the shit has gone down, you barely hear from Perrin. Like there were points where I forgot Perrin existed when my first read through, and even Matt sometimes too. Like I remember like reading other books, like we usually when a point of view characters around people that. Like even like a Song of Ice and Fire, like you heard from all the characters, like they were all there, they all had something to say, but like they were strangely silent. So that was an initial issue I had when I first read this. And now that I read it now, I'm more understanding of why Jordan kind of did that, because I mean context.
Yeah, I mean there's only three. There's only 3 point of views that you get. Well, I guess 4 if you want to count the prologue, right? Which is the sort of third person omniscient kind of point of view, right? Which is actually about the only time that there's a full chapter in the entire series. And then outside of that, you have Rand, you have Perrin, and you have Nynaeve, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
And
Perrin, it's just those 3. It's just those 3 that do.
No, it's almost all Rand. Eye of the World is almost all Rand's perspective.
Probably 80% Rand, and
because Matt is because when they split up, Matt is with Rand, I believe.
Yep.
Right. Matt is so it's Matt, Rand, and Tom are the one group, and then Perrin and Egwene are another group, and then I think.
Dude, I'd take that 3 anywhere, man.
Moraine is it Moraine or is it Moiraine? How do you pronounce it?
I've always said Moraine.
Moiraine.
So it's funny. Audiobook readers will tell you that the two readers can't decide. I think Kate reading says Moiraine, and then shoot, how am I spacing on his name? Kramer. Thank you, Michael Kramer.
How is did Jordan ever?
He says Moiraine.
Did Jordan himself ever come on record to say the name, pronounce the name? No,
I know who they're talking about, so I don't care how it's pronounced. Yeah. I've always said Moiraine. So I mean,
I just say Moiraine, like Moiraine.
Yeah. I think
terrible joke.
I think that's how the majority of the fandom pronounces it.
Okay. I can't get past the I. You got to do the oi right at the start for me. I mean,
Moiraine, yeah. I don't think either is wrong. To be honest, it was never like hard and fast. I don't know. I know who you're talking about when you say Moiraine, and that's all I need, right? I'm not particular when it comes to that stuff.
It's like Egwene.
Egwene? Is that Egwene? I'm sorry.
So we learn about, and this was what interested me, and I'm assuming I think I know what Steve's going to say after I ask this, but I'm assuming I'll learn more in the subsequent books about the war in Gildan or something. Or
Gildan?
the false dragon. I forget his name. I forget the false dragon's name in this. Logain. Okay.
Yeah.
Read and don't find out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not. You get some more Logain, but yeah, I guess that's sort of a read and find out because the war sort of. Well, screw it. The war ends pretty quickly. I mean, Logain is handled. We'll just say that. So
okay, because if that was the war in the first book, I must have forgot that detail. Then
yeah, the war in Gildan is pretty much wrapped up before Rand. Well, yeah, pretty quickly.
Okay, so
pretty quickly. The female Aes Sedai
barrel on, I think.
Yep, the female Aes Sedai are already pretty much have him in hand by the time have Logain in hand. So the war in Gildan is not that big a deal. Other than you hear about Logain being a man that can channel, and that he is wreaking havoc.
Yeah, I mean it's an important plot point to just heighten the reader's anticipation of men channeling, the fear and dread that occurs to everybody surrounding the thought of a man channeling. It's
dragon
really
too,
good.
right?
Yeah, it's a really good plot device that he institutes, and it's just marvelous that he does that. And then later on, you still continue with Logain in instances.
Yeah, so you'll get more Logain. I think the war in Gildan is more just to drop his name out there and sort of give some more emphasis to the title of dragon.
Okay, so all right, so the idea of the dragon comeback is driven the fear of God into people, but also like there's this major distrust, and this is said multiple times, of Aes Sedai, so the female, and they're like, well, the female, like when Aes Sedai, approaches you, you gotta tread carefully or something. Is the saying, especially of the lowborn or the common folk, the Two Rivers folk, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of culturally dependent, right? So different cultures in the world are going to have different views of the White Tower and Aes Sedai. There's we'll call it, there's some misinformation about the White Tower and about the Aes Sedai that is prevalent in some parts of the world. You'll get to find out sort of the origins maybe of some of that, but for right now, it's just clear that different places in the world have very different views of Aes Sedai. So, for example, unlike what we saw on the show, the Borderlands tend to have a very high level of reverence for Aes Sedai.
So where are the Borderlands? Is that like right along
up to the north?
So is that like along the what do you call, what they call that area where the
Blight
dark people
So,
are? The
yeah.
Blight.
So
like
it's
along that.
Saldea, Kandor, Arafel, and Shinar are the Borderlands.
Yeah, they hold the Blight border basically back. So the Blight is the decayed lands basically. The Borderlands are bordering the Blight and constantly fighting Trolloc invasions basically.
Okay, so kind of like so I hate to pretend the Blights are like the Dornish, but kind of like the Storm's End and all those places like over there, trying to ward off.
I don't know,
or like Minas Tirith trying to, or like the Gondor trying to ward off Mordor and everything.
That's probably a more apt metaphor than Storm's
Well,
End.
and I think another thing is just I don't know if it's there yet, but the fact that you got those countries up there fighting monsters every day, and people in the Two Rivers don't believe these monsters exist, also gives you an idea how big this world is.
Yeah.
Because the Two Rivers don't believe in Myrddraal, they don't believe in Trollocs. They think they're all just stories to scare kids in their beds.
You say Myrddraal?
Myrddraal.
I saw Myrddraal.
Yeah, usually I go
Myrddraal
both
or Myrddraal.
Myrddraal, Fades. I usually say Fade. Yeah.
I won't make fun
about
of
Half
Steve.
No, I always prefer to hate Fade.
Yeah. Lurks, Fades, Halfman, the Eyeless, Myrddraal. They're all
Why do they call them Halfmen?
fetches.
because
Why
they're
not?
half men.
Yeah. You'll
So they're half men, half
read and find
beast.
out.
They're half men, half beast. Well, I think they've revealed it. They're supposed to be like Trolloc spawn or
They're
something.
they're a different
Okay.
breed of Trolloc, basically. I think,
But
like
they're like
they're Trollocs that they don't know why they became that. Basically,
they
I
look
think if I
so
remember.
they look they're basically they look pale, like pale humans. They just don't have eyes, so
Yeah,
you can't
so-
really. But yet they can
Mhm.
see. They can see better than like an eagle or something.
So
They
the
can
idea
see like an elf.
is that Trollocs were made by mixing human and animal DNA, right? So they're chimeras, and then half men, Fades, Murdral are essentially Trolloc children. So one in every X number of Trolloc offspring happens to be a Murdral. And even the Forsaken who made the Trollocs don't actually understand how the Murdral function or how they were made. They don't understand the Murdral's powers and abilities, and they tried very hard to figure them out. And it's something that is not to do with the one power, but is adjacent.
Yeah,
So like
just
one
of
thing
those
I
things.
so the Murdral, so you have the Trollocs are like the foot soldiers. The Murdral are kind of like their commanders or something, like they command like
Sure.
squads or
Yep.
or
I think
or
that's
something.
fair enough. Yep.
And
Officers.
yeah, they're like the officers. So but the thing is Murdral, so the black cloak figure, the black rider that ran first encounters in the Westwood was a Murdral, and I was a Murdral. So, and of course, I think what happened was he didn't like. I think part of his face was veiled or covered, so like you couldn't see the fact that it didn't have any eyes. So so they have the ability to tell. I mean, I'm assuming that the reason why he vanished was because they have the ability to teleport.
Nope, just in shadows. They can melt into shadows. They don't know why, they don't know how, but they can. If they're in shadows, they can become part of the shadows and
yeah, I think that it is the edge of light and shadow is where they're able to sort of fade walk, and that's one of the things that the Forsaken don't actually know how they do it.
They don't know how. They can't explain it. They tried to figure it out. They never could. But Fades can basically, like Pip said, at the edge, like you see a shadow of a building, they can walk into that and they're gone.
I believe I remember correctly. Forsaken are like the high. They're like the top of the dark ones.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Murdral or something, or unless there's more people, unless there's more
there's
more buffers.
There's dark friends. I mean, I think probably there's more higher ranked dark friends than Fades.
It's pretty fluid, right? Yeah. So there's a very sort of ambiguous hierarchy amongst dark friends, and the chosen or Forsaken are essentially just dark friends. And then there's the shadow spawn, and Fades tend to be above the vast majority of human dark friends, but there are non-channeler human dark friends who are above Fades as well.
Okay. So I want to welcome Wakizashi's Tea House. Gray,
we have
up?
We have this Texas guy in the chat too. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't know, but I would say it like Gray led a great stream on Friday. We were all watching Twilight Zone, the movie. You want to see something scary? I like that. I was doing that to people at yesterday's Halloween party. So I was take off my mask, put on my mask, and I just tried to scare people. Didn't work, but still. But yeah, so Gray, what's up? And of course, yeah, this wait, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Salty Texas Sea. It's nerds. Yeah, I can't blame. Right. I can't. Yeah, and I haven't seen. And welcome back. I haven't seen Louise Expiro here in a while. So welcome. Actually, I really need to reread book one. Yeah, I'm really enjoying rereading book one. So, but yeah,
I will maintain that the best read that you ever have in this series is the first reread.
The first reread. Okay.
Yep.
Probably. Yep.
And then once I go into book 2, I'm going into completely uncharted, unknown territory. So
book two is a great book.
Great
now
Hunt is a great
the
book.
fact that I know the name of the book, like I've already gone far enough to know that they talk about things that I think are foreshadowing. So like they talk about the Great Hunt of the Horn of, I forget what the
Valier. Horn of Valier.
Valier, yeah. So they talk about that. So I'm assuming that's what the Great Hunt's about. But book 2, I think. You don't have to answer that. But then there was another thing that really interested me. That was also brought up, the Kingdom of Tyr. The Kingdom of Tyr.
Mm-hmm.
And something about a dragon being reborn. I think that might be a later thing too. Of course.
Well,
yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
The dragon goes to Tyr at some point. Yep. At some point.
Okay. I'm just saying. I knew you were going to answer that.
See, well, the crazy thing is the show took that whole theory there and just said, "Oh, Rand cries."
Yes. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, the dragon goes to Tyr. Rand cries a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn it.
That's Wheel of Prime.
Nate, why is this? Yeah. Why are these gold lines not appearing in the? What are you doing? You're offloading all your good stuff for Nerdporeal over here. Oh,
come on! I had red light, green light in the last one.
That's true. It
was
the Squid Games Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
The charge into
Squid Games.
The charge straight into a wall. I love it.
Well, I mean, so we meet another character. We meet is Tom Maryland, the Glee Man. So the Glee Man's basically just like a bard. He sings, performs, plays music, juggles,
find out.
And
he does some of those things.
Okay, he does some of those things. He comes off as I said this earlier. He comes off as very Tolkienian. Like he has the pipe. He's got that no nonsense attitude. Reminds me of like Gandalf, but without the without the magic.
Yeah. So I've always thought that Tom and Moraine combined together fill the role of Gandalf in the story of the Eye of the World. So
yeah, I agree.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree with that. And of course, so we meet him, and of course we meet Moraine, and we learn, she's accompanied by a warder. So is the warders mainly, at least based on what I know so far, so the warder's just there to protect her and is like linked, as like I forget, mentally linked to her. I forgot how they explained that.
They're bonded, but it's more than I guess it's a mental.
You'll get a better understanding of it later, but I mean they're knowledgeable of the other person's physical position, state, and to some extent emotional state. So like, if I was blindfolded and I was bonded to someone, I could point and like always point right at them. I could also tell you if they're injured, if they're aching, if they're had a good night's sleep. I could tell you if they're angry, right? So like there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes in the bond. But it's not like mind reading, but
yeah.
Okay. So
I'm trying to think at this point, I forget. We know that she's Aes Sedai, but the people in the town don't, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, they don't learn until after, I think, the Trolloc attack. And then, of course, I believe people in the town were the ones that drew the dragon fang on the wine spring indoor. I think it was, or was it someone? It was, okay. It was one of those troublemakers. I forget the names. The Conglins. Is that what they're called?
Congers.
Coplins.
Congers.
Yeah, Congers.
Days Conger.
I loved, but so they end up, because of all the the peddlers' information about Gildan and all that. The council has this little, they get together, and then we have the women's circle. So you have the village council, and then you have the women's circle. So the women's circle are like the true, they're the true backbone of they're pretty much in charge. They're the ones that get shit done.
I mean,
I always thought that Emmons Field was probably more. It was split along equal sides more than a lot of places in the
Yep.
world.
Yep.
It's the men have their responsibilities. They're clearly defined in their own
Yep.
society, and the women have their own defined things as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas like Tarvalon, it's lady central.
Yeah, 50-50 is probably more fair because, woman's business is woman's business and male business is male business for the most part. They cross over sometimes, but
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it seems like seems. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that the important contrast is, like they said, compared to things that we see later, and how Emmons Field is supposed to represent sort of an idyllic place, right? So it's good, upstanding moral values, sort of, strong sense of community, and also in terms of the sort of the patriarchy kind of vibe, right? It's actually a fairly egalitarian society where men and women have equal standing within the community. They have different roles, and Robert Jordan is very clear that well, I don't know if he necessarily thinks this, but he definitely portrayed the value of men's and women's roles as being the yin and yang of the sort of, collective whole, where the two sides have to work together to make something better than the sum of their parts, right?
Yeah, I love
and
that.
so
I love that. Like
Yeah.
that's how it should be.
And you see that really epitomized in Emmons Field. So more than anywhere else in the world, which lots of other cultures have different takes on the balance between men and women. Some go more towards women, more towards men. Most of them are more towards women because of the male Aes Sedai, the madness, the breaking, all that. But
Yeah.
Emmons Field is really, like I said, it's the idyllic sort of, the sort of perfect kind of place. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so like I liked, so I really like that. I really like that aspect of it, the men treated the women with respect. The women, even though the women kind of were the bosses at the time, but I mean, they worked together. They worked together, and they made sure the men were, they supported the men at every point, at every opportunity. So I love that. I love that dynamic. So we got to see that aspect of it, and then of course, now just kind of going ahead, Rand and his father end up going back. I forget why they go back, but they're like, we gotta go and we gotta lock. I think they have to go and lock up the farm or something. Is that why they?
Yeah, they have all the animals.
They got the sheep. They got to mind the sheep. I mean, they're
because of all the wolves and
and everything going on. They got to mind the sheep, and I think Rand's planning to go back for winter night or what? It's not winter night, but is it winter night? Yeah,
it's winter night. Yeah, it's winter night. So
plans to go back so they go home to tend the farm, and Rand's planning to go back for winter night the next evening.
So they skipped winter night celebration in the town in order to come back the next day for Beltane, right?
That's right.
So they dropped off the brandy, and then they went back home to do a farmer's work is never done. As somebody who grew up on a farm, that's sort of a truism, right? So like, hey, we can't be gone for 2 days, but we can bring some stuff into town. We can come back, we can tidy up and do stuff, and then we can come back the next day, do the celebrations, the Beltane sort of fair and festival, and then we'll be back home by sunset.
Yep. So. I had it flipped. My bad.
Okay. Yes. All right. That makes sense. Yep. So they end up going back, and of course, we learn about Tam had a sword. So at one point, he fought. I believe he fought in a war. I forget exactly what was.
So you don't learn much about any of that. You just know he has a sword. You don't know why. You don't know how he got it. You don't know really anything.
I think doesn't he like test it kind of like Boromir, like with the Narsil sword, and it's like, oh, this is still sharp and all that. I think didn't they check that, or maybe that was later? Because
I mean, he sort of gets it. Like
read and find out.
Well, I mean, I read it. I'm sure it happened. I remember it happening. I just don't remember exactly.
I'm just saying about the sword.
He pulls the sword out, and Rand's kind of like, "What?"
Desperation. He doesn't even know his. Yeah, he doesn't even know his father has the sword. So
yeah. So he discovers.
But Tam senses that something's
the sword is
down,
the sword
and he
is
just wants to have it out there as protection, and then all of a sudden,
I love
the sword
especially
is special.
on a reread. I love, especially reread, how you see Rand's or you see Tam's like spidey senses kind of going off, right?
Yep.
Like he's coming to farm and he's like
Tam is
he's
such a
checking the
badass.
lock. He's like checking around the farm. Like he goes to get his sword. Like there's just something in the back of his mind, and it makes sense later as you learn more about his history. There's something in the back of his mind that he's like,
something ain't right.
Something is not right, and
something's gonna go down. Yep.
And I love that sort of aspect.
Which I think is what led him to led them to go back to the farm. I don't think it was necessarily just there were wolves out and stuff. It was just all the news that was brought by the peddler and the village council meeting and everything. And then he just says, "Okay, you know what, Rand, we're going home." And Rand was kind of shocked by this, so he's like, what?" And
you got the comment in chat there about the sword, so that's a good pull right there. Good pull, chat. Way to go.
I want to say hello to Gadfly Fiction. I don't think I've ever seen you around here before. He says Rand checks the edge after chopping up the cart in order to make the litter to carry Tam.
Absolutely correct.
All right, that makes sense.
Now, and I do want to mention, I think now it's been a while since I read Eye of the World, but you did sort of glaze over. You got to keep an eye on the coins that Moraine hands out are extremely important. If it's been a while since you've read it,
the silver pennies that she gave the boys.
Yeah, she gave
the boys are just so enthralled with this woman. They don't know who she is. She plays up that she's just some lord, and she gives them coins, all of them, not just our three important, but gives all the boys
also
coins because she doesn't know who she doesn't really know who she's looking for yet. She just knows she's in the right spot. She thinks
it's
she's
also
in the right spot.
really great to read those interactions again on a reread and see how she plays with the truth, how she says things in a certain way, or, and this is something you learn, how she has Lan say things for her. It's something that the show completely failed on. Her inability to lie, even when the villagers don't know that she's Aes Sedai, how she has to tell the truth, right? And so you'll often have, you may call me this, not my name is this, right? So she says things in a way that it's technically true. And it's so well done.
Wait, so Moraine does not lie?
Okay. She can't. Aes Sedai are okay. So Aes Sedai have become pretty much worm tongues, right? I mean, they are not allowed to lie by the 3 O's. They're not allowed to say anything which is a lie, but they are allowed to say things that they believe are truth, and they're allowed to dance around the truth. As long as they're not directly telling a lie that they know it happens to be a lie. They can also
omission? What about like omission or
they
something?
can lie by omission all the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's so they get very, and that's why nobody trusts Aes Sedai, because they know, even because of their 3 O's, they know that they lie without lying. It's widely known throughout.
3 O's? What do you mean by 3 O's?
So the 3 O's are to say, basically, to say no word that is not true. To, basically, I'm not allowed to lie. I'm not allowed to use the one power as a weapon except against Shadow Spawn or in defense of my life, the life of another sister, or the life of a warder. And I'm not allowed to make a weapon for one man to kill another. Are the 3 O's?
Is this revealed in the next book by any chance?
Actually, I think it's in the first book.
I think it. Yeah, I thought so.
I would have actually thought that you'd already gotten this. To be honest,
I would have thought you would have already got that. But the 3 O's are to be raised
maybe
to the
later
shawl.
In the book, then?
Maybe to be raised to the shawl, you have to speak the 3 O's on the Oath Rod, and you find out some interesting things about the Oath Rod later in the series.
Yeah, at this
Aes
point,
Sedai are idiots. Okay, sorry. Moving
at
on.
this point, you don't know how the oaths are binding, but you do know that the Aes Sedai do say these 3 oaths and that they can't break them. So no Aes Sedai can tell a lie, and that is, again, just like the Creator and the Dark One are universally accepted by the people in this world. That it's not a superstition. It's not this. It's like, nope, it's real, and everybody knows it. The fact that Aes Sedai cannot lie is universally understood and known.
It's also
the mechanism, the mechanism for how it's done is not known. But nobody trusts them because, an Aes Sedai will tell you the truth, but it won't be the truth that you think you heard. And
Right.
I think Tom Maryland says that to the kids in the section that you've read.
Yeah, that's why I think
Okay.
Tom starts schooling Rand and Matt on a lot of the Aes Sedai ways. That's where you get a lot of this stuff, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so yeah, and that's I'm sure that happens it happens after where I'm currently at. So
It must, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So all right, so of course, so yeah, so like I think Matt, Perrin, and Rand had like this. They had this particular silver coin. I forget what was on that silver coin, but it was different from all the other coins she gave out, I believe.
Nope.
It was just a different denomination. She gave them a silver penny. She gave the other kids something less.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah, she
so,
gave coins to all the boys, basically
Oh.
because she didn't know what quite she was searching for.
Yeah.
Well, she did, but she didn't. I guess, right?
So I'll be honest. I did watch a while ago when it first came out. I did watch a portion of the first episode of the series of Wheel of Prime, and because I wanted to see how they envisioned. I wanted to see how they envisioned Chapter 5, especially the Trollocs. So the Trollocs, spoiler, Trollocs come in and they break into the Althor house, and I like how like the first thing like he's grabbing. I think he has grabbing like a hot water for tea, just flunks it at the first Trolloc that comes in the house, and then it just gets crazy after that. It's kind of like it made me think of in Fellowship of the Ring when they're in the tomb, the room of or the chamber of Balin, the tomb of Balin, and like how they're trying to how the orcs are trying to break in. It just kind of made me think of that. I know it's totally different scenario, totally different setting, but it kind of made me think of that where a typical enemy breaks in and then you just it goes to fucking hell. It just goes to hell, and so like yeah, apparently these Trollocs are like 8 feet tall or something. Is that what it is? They're like 8-9 feet tall. And Tam is like taking them out like they're freaking Swiss cheese or something.
So I think Trollocs are probably closer to like 7-8 feet tall. Like they're taller than men, but they're not Ogier sized, right? Because an Ogier towers over even.
I think so. Yeah, no, I think that sounds about right. But they're big. They're big boys. They're bigger than people. That's for sure.
I remember Loyal. I can't wait to get to him again. Ogier.
Yeah.
But like so like Tam is fighting them. Rand goes and hides, and then I forget like the exact scenario, but I think he tries to check and he meets up with his father, and his father is wounded. He's got tainted because I believe it's like equivalent like all the Trolloc weapons are like tainted or something. Like if you get hit by one, you become tainted, or you get I forget what they called it. Was it taint or whatever? Is that what they call it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, I have to help him. I have to figure out a way to get him to Nynaeve. So he goes back to the house and he encounters what was the hell's the name of this Trolloc?
Narg.
So Narg,
the only talking Trolloc on the planet.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
The Trollocs possess the ability to speak. We don't often see them employ it, but they're not insensate, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, I've never seen Sense8.
It's crazy. Even Murdral are turned into just like sort of screaming, like worm dune mouthed creatures. In the show when like Murdral all the time in the series, right? So it's crazy to me that they turned all of the Shadowspawn into such animals and removed any sort of thinking and stuff that you see in the show or in the books. Narg is admittedly an outlier for Trollocs. It's a bit of a meme within the story because I think that potentially Robert George changed his mind on how he wanted to use Trollocs. There's nothing that breaks canon with it because we just don't see a one-on-one with a Trolloc for the rest of the series. So there's nothing to say that Trollocs can't speak the common tongue. We just don't see it again.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Okay. Because I really liked that scene. That was a very tense. I thought that was a very tense scene. he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. And then he just charges. And luckily, Rand had his sword out, so he was able to kill the thing. You know, I felt a lot of tension in that moment. And then of course, yeah, he's rushing to create this. So he builds what? So it's the
litter.
thing that the litter. So okay,
Yeah.
so
Just a pole litter.
all right, so like, is he dragging? Is it like on a wheel or something so he can move it? Okay, so he's using a carriage.
I think he's just dragging it. I don't think
Yeah.
it's got. I think he's just dragging it. It's just like wood.
Anybody who's
wood.
ever tried to drag a pole litter before. So basically, you have the two poles, and those two poles are either in the ground, like the bottom of a ladder. Imagine that you're dragging a ladder behind you. Is basically what it's going to be like.
Okay.
You're gonna have one pole on each arm, and two sticks are going to be in the ground. Acting like pseudo sleds, I guess, is really the closest they are. They're certainly not wheels, but
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't. I was just trying to envision it
Because it was
describing it.
it was all based off. It was all off of basically a destroyed wagon, but the wheels were nothing that he could attach.
It is not a comfortable ride in a litter getting drugged, by the way.
No, I'm sure with all the bumps and everything, like like it's crazy, and
especially
like,
through the woods.
And I loved chapter 6. Like, it was just like he has to hide in the woods. He has to stay off the road.
Now, if you were going to skip a chapter from, we won't go there. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, it is probably one of the best chapters in the entire series.
I really enjoyed that. I just have to share that. Like, I like him, like, just like, and he's hearing his father, like the Trollocs come and they're passing by, and he's just hiding in he's just hiding, hiding in the woods, hiding behind the trees and everything. Then the Murdral comes, and then it just gets like he has to stay silent. But the thing is, Tam is having fever dreams and he's talking
in the middle of having an identity crisis as well.
Yeah, he's like, that's my father. He's like, yeah, that's my father. Yeah, that's my father. That's my father. So yeah, so there's like so much shit is going on, and Pips could not help but tell me a certain aspect of the show that might have failed to incorporate this really, really strong chapter. So
yeah, but
Amazon.
They flash back. They think it was okay because they give you a 2-second flashback and don't give you any of the context. You just
Right.
It's like, oh, we showed it. It's like, no, you didn't show shit. Fuck off. Sorry.
Yeah. So but that was a great chapter. Now, so we're now like later chapters. I think chapter 7 through 8 or 9 or whatever. He manages to gets back to Emmons Field. They were attacked as well by Trollocs. Like, apparently only a few of the houses burned, and that was, I think, meant to be a distraction because they actually attacked, Perrin, or I think they attacked the blacksmith, I believe, and they attacked the coffins. They attacked Matt's farm, everything. So those were like the big. So they're the big three because I believe that they were born within like weeks of days of each other. I think that's why like those three are of particular interest, and of course that's what Moraine ultimately reveals to him, and that's why she tells him, you got to leave. We have to hightail it out of here for the sake of the village. It's I know I'm kind of skipping ahead, and I know, but and of course Moraine is the one she uses what is an angreal that helps Tam with his tainted wound or whatever. So an angreal it doesn't it helps the channeler do a better job. Is that what it's supposed to do?
It enhances, makes it stronger, I guess is the best way to say it. Just makes your channeling more potent, I guess.
It makes your magic use more efficient. So she's able to use less of the power, but more effectively to do what she's doing, so she can last longer in tasks that she wants to do, as far as I understand it.
The best metaphor that I could give here would be, but if you were to take take the engine out and drop like a V12 in there, right? Yeah. You're going to produce a lot more power and a lot. You'd be
kind of roboting there.
Yeah, we're losing.
But shoot. Is it
There you
still
go.
doing it?
I think you're
You're
back.
okay. You're okay now.
All right, so dropping a V12 in your Volkswagen Jetta is going to produce more power, but it's going to suck that gas tank dry a little faster, right? So it allows you to do more, but ultimately the bill still has to be paid.
Oh, okay. Because I know, like, the one thing that they just that's being over the head is that, you know, these things do not have magical abilities of them. It's only the living, you know, it's everything comes from the once. So there's the true source, I think, is where everything comes from, all the magic and everything. Then you have the one power or something. Are they the same thing,
Same
or are
thing.
they different?
Same thing.
So it's a true
They're the
source,
same
one
thing.
power, and only living things, only living people, or maybe living people can actually channel it. I think you have to have the intellect to properly channel it. And I'm curious, like, are they like Jedi? Are they like born randomly or something? Aes Sedai, you know,
Close
they can
enough.
use Sidar and Sidene or whatever. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
close enough.
I was like, yeah, I don't want to spoil it for myself.
I mean, I guess I get. I mean, you're told that there's some that can learn, but you know, some are born with the spark in them. Some are can learn it, but I guess there's not really a fast and true way to. You can't really just create channelers by like having to have, you know, sex. You know, that's not going to produce
Yeah.
a channeler guaranteed, right? I mean, as far as I know.
So
Right.
it's random. It's more or less random. You know?
Random. Yeah, I think so.
Got a few drops left.
Oh,
So,
gotta get it all.
No, I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there before.
You got to keep up. I'm on my third glass.
Like I told you, I nurse this shit. So, and plus I only have one. I only bought one of these. So, so we get the her. She helps him. She heals him. Heals Tam with the
Angrial, you know, however you want to pronounce
the Angriel, and then and then we get this like and then all of a sudden, like, I think I might be skipping shit, I don't remember exactly, but like then like the mob comes and they find out that, you know, because of the attack and how her and Lan were fighting off the Trollocs, the people figure out that she's an Aes Sedai, and then, like we discussed earlier, that the common folk do not trust Aes Sedai, so they're like, we want you out of here, blah blah blah. And then we get this amazing story. She's like, don't you remember who you are? And of course I'm talking about Nathan, where are you? I can't point. I have no sense of direction right here. So yeah. So we learn about Manetheren. So Manetheren was like an ancient, I don't know how long ago it was, but it was like an ancient kingdom that fought off the Trollocs, like a Trolloc invasion
years ago.
And of course we had King Aemon, and I forget, like his wife. It was, I forget, he led the fight or something, and then he got slain, and he left his wife behind to rule, but then they all died too, and everything just kind of went like Manetheren just kind of became no more as a result. I don't remember the details.
Well, it was.
Oh man,
it's a phenomenal story because Aemon has his army far away, and then they're told the Trolloc army's coming down, so they hightail it back and they make it in time to make a defense, but they can't prepare anything, but they just have this huge bloody last stand. And as they retreat, or as they pull back because they're pinned in by the river, then the women from the city come out to fight as well. I mean, it's just
I love that part. I love that part. The men and the women got together and they fought together. I thought that was
and then when he dies, then she goes absolutely mad with grief and just obliterates the place.
She goes all Mary Todd Lincoln. Well, yeah.
Which I'm disappointed that you can't remember it, because we have that video on of the animation by Chuck Dixon, the reading by Kate Reading.
I was listening to it. Speech. I was actually listening to it while I was taking notes.
He did read like 5 chapters today, so
give the man a break. Come on.
Pips, give me shit. I don't care. Give me shit, Pips.
It's because you've been drinking. That's why.
No, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
That speech is like, you should listen once a week just to sort yourself up. Like, it is so good. Like,
I agree. I
still
liked
get-
it. I liked
still
what I
get
read.
chills.
It's
still
like
get chills.
it's like you might disagree with me, but it's like up there with the Broken Man speech in Feast for Crows. Like it's something I really I felt emotional about. So yeah. By the way, what's up, Lady Balefire? So, she can't. It's something I think she likes. I think she actually likes this book, right? Right, Pips?
She does like this book. Yep.
Okay,
It's
that's good.
Lady Balefire approved.
If it's Lady Balefire approved, it's going to be good then. So, but yeah, the Manethrin thing was great. I thought that was epic, and it's just like, is there more to the story that we'll find out in the future?
What's that? Is there more of the Manethrin
Is there more
story?
to the Manethrin story that we learn in the future?
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
Within the actual story itself, not a whole lot, but you'll get a little bit more through character perspectives, through some conversations with other characters.
You learn there's a massive amount of respect throughout the world for that region. The old blood runs strong in the Two Rivers.
Yeah. The effect of that whole thing on certain main characters is pretty intense, actually. So it's
I loved.
You'll really enjoy that when you get to those parts because it's phenomenal.
It is important to the story.
Yeah. Now, what I did remember is what I read today. I read chapter. I think it was chapter 18, where they're being pursued. And I'm just skipping all the way ahead. So they get out of Beer Lawn. And they're being.
We're already out of Beer Lawn.
Well,
they're
surrounded. But they're surrounded by Trollocs, and then all of a sudden,
we didn't even talk about Dane Bornhall.
We'll get to it. I'm
Dane's
just skipping because I'm just skipping. I'm just skipping it because it's relevant to what I'm talking about now. Like there's the point where I forget what exactly Matt says, but Matt screams out something in
Karayan Caldazar, Karayan Alessandra.
Yeah, and then Rand screams out Manethrin, when they're charging. I thought that was freaking great. So it was a nice little payoff too.
I get chills just thinking about it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's just the seeds of this impact. I mean, it absolutely blows up in another 2 books. You're just gonna, you'll flip your lid. It's awesome.
Read and find out.
Read and find out. Yeah. No, Matt screaming the old tongue as there's charge. I mean, good Lord, man. Like, I mean, there's nothing better. God
yeah,
damn.
it was. I thought that was. Excuse me. No, too much to drink.
That's the foreshadowing thing that Robert Jordan writes. He sits there, pops that in there for you, and you don't. All of a sudden, then you're reading something much later, and you're just like, "Holy shit, that's awesome!"
He doesn't right at that point. He doesn't even know what the hell he's saying. He's just screaming it, and like even if I remember right, isn't Moraine even like, how the hell did you like know what? Do you even know what you said? Isn't it something like that in there? I don't know. It's been a while, but
I think
Moraine's even shocked.
She translates. She's kind of shocked, but I think it was everybody else that was kind of like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
Tom made a thing about the old thing, how certain people will, sometimes kind of say some things, and later you get some more context where like a word of the old tongue might kind of pop out. It read and find out. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to talk next. I know we got limited time left, so I just want to talk really quickly about like Rand's dream, his first dream. If I remember correctly, he's running through like multiple like areas. He runs across the bridge, sees a bunch of people cheering, then he walks into a palace and he sees a Murdrell. I'm sure there's way more to it, but that's what I barely remember. So I'm curious if that's relevant much later. Okay, so I'm taking that as a yes. Okay, don't say anything. Don't say anything then. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. All right.
You didn't find out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right. Is there any comment? Any
dreams
Question.
mean a
on-
lot. We'll just
Question:
say that
Are dreams important?
dreams are important.
Read and find
Yes.
out.
Read and find out.
I
Okay.
think
Thanks,
dreams
Pips.
are dreams. Pay attention to dreams. Just pay attention to dreams.
Yes.
Yeah, I did 2 dreams. So I did the first dream, and then of course we meet Balzamon, and I think in chapter 15 or something. I forget. That was pretty messed up. So the guy has like fire eyes and like a fire mouth. Like he opens his mouth and you see flame or something. So
Mhm.
so like is he the same? Okay, okay. I don't know if is he the same person as Ishmael? Can I
We
ask
can
that?
find out.
Okay. Thank you. So all right. So but I actually remember those
whoever
dreams.
he is insane as freaking. He is loony.
Okay. But I'm assuming he's like the power that sent all the Trollocs, or he's the main person that sent all the. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm not gonna.
I think that I don't know. I think that's fair
Read and
enough.
find out.
Yeah, it's
Read
fair,
and find
fair
out.
enough,
Read and
but
find out. Yeah, just. So yes, we got that dream, and of course, then they flee. We got everybody together. They're riding north, and then we see this Drakkar. So the Drakkar is kind of like he has
what's
has
a
like
Drakkar?
wings.
Oh, sorry.
Huh? Wait,
Nothing.
what?
Continue. Sorry. It's one of the things that pisses me off the most about the show, but go ahead.
No,
Yeah, no
No
Drakkar.
Drakkar. How do you not include Drakkar? Sorry, go ahead.
Budget, probably.
Bullshit. Go ahead. Moving on.
All right. Okay. So
Especially
like
because
so
you don't
apparently
even see them in either world. You just hear them. They didn't have the budget for sound.
You can shadows and
Yeah, shadows. Just
terrible,
a blip
terrible
across the moon.
shrieking.
Yeah,
Like,
the problem is the showrunners asked what's a drag car, and everybody else said read and
Exactly.
find out.
They're like, what the hell's a Drakkar? It's like you read the books, like, oh shit, yeah, I did.
Lady Balefire asked me, is book Ishi better than show Ishi? What's Ishi?
There you go.
Ishi,
Read and find out. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Moving
don't
on.
pay attention to Lady Balefire. She's doing spoiler.
Ishi is
chats
not
in
even in the show, so don't even worry
Yeah.
about it. There is no Ishmael in the show. So moving on.
Lady
from Ishmael.
Balefire, we're doing Eye of the World spoiler content only.
The show people don't know who an Ishi is, so we don't even have to touch on that.
Yeah. So the thing that flies in the sky that's tracking them doesn't exist. That doesn't exist because
Drakkar is so
Amazon.
cool, man. Like they're so cool. But
So
sorry,
they're not quite so their ability is they just simply fly. How they never mind. I'll find out, I guess.
I don't. Yeah, because
I can't ask that.
The
because I
Drakkar
didn't-
really haven't attacked anything yet, have they?
No,
At
I
this
just
point?
they're
They don't do
flying
anything, so you'll
A
get it in the next book.
Drakkar, just you'll be. It's very interesting and cool when you get there. But Drakkar are very interesting, and
So, I know
all
that
I
they're
can tell you about Drakkar is embrace death. Read and find out.
yes.
embrace what?
Embrace
Embrace
death.
death.
Embrace death. Okay.
Yes,
So
Drakkar are
from what I
nasty.
remember, like they're like the assassins. They're the ones that kind of are sent on special ops or something. So,
Read and find out.
Read and find
They're
out.
huggers.
Of course,
They're
of
huggers.
course,
They're
Pips,
huggers.
of course, guys.
They're very emotionally sensitive.
They're very. Oh, so there's a lot of feelings. Okay, all right, I
Yes,
understand now.
in
So,
hallways.
Like the winged creatures from Beastmaster.
okay, so we get to the ferry. They wake these guys up. They're like, take us across. So they
And then they
take
kill the ferry. Sorry, I got confused for a second.
My
son,
My
they-
son.
I'm sorry.
So they killed. You said they killed the ferry. They killed the ferry.
No, I'm not. Sorry. We'll get there when we watch the show.
In the books,
Yeah.
books, it's them just straight badasses and like kind of like threatening, sort of looming over these ferrymen and absolute like
Yeah, like they just wake them up. They're like, take us across. And it's funny. One thing is, I'm curious. Maybe it's another thing I got to read to find out. But it seems like Moraine and Land's wallet is like never ending. It's like they keep just throwing They just
Yep.
have like all this money and they just keep throwing it around. I'm like,
Tarvalin-
are they like Scrooge McDuck or something? Like, is it
yeah,
like,
well, Tarvalin is, yeah. Tarvalin is
So-
endlessly rich, pretty much. So
okay,
Vatican.
Yeah, so all you got to understand is that Aes Sedai get a stipend from the White Tower, which is probably pretty rich. And independently, Moraine is probably
yeah.
pretty wealthy.
she is from a noble line. So
that's right. I remember that. Okay, so they're crossed. Of course, then they make their way north. They're going to they're I think it took them a week. It took them roughly a week to get from the bank of the what the hell, the Taryn, the river's called the Taryn, right? That's why Taryn Ferry.
Taryn Ferry,
so
yep.
from the bank of the river, it takes them a week to get to Berlon. And of course, we find out that Egwene she's force sensitive. She's force sensitive. She's one power sensitive, whatever they call it. She can become
She's
an
got
Aes Sedai.
midichlorians.
I am curious if you picked up anything during the flight on the horseback. If not, think about it when you'll know it when you see it. I guess is the best place to
pick what up.
Something that if you pay attention to the text and what's happening while they're running, in their horse with Egwene and Rand in particular in their flight from Edmund's Field.
Egwene thought it was an adventure. She was not.
Well,
taking
but I'm
it seriously.
talking about
That's what they were thinking. That's what I gathered.
So I guess this is it post Baelorun that he does what he does. I think it's on the way to Shadow Logoth, I think. But yeah, there's panic. The panicked ride towards Shadow Logoth, I guess, is important if you're paying attention. We'll just say that.
Like, okay, all right. I mean,
well, if you remember,
there was the battle. I mean, there was the battle that they did, the attack. They went.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm putting the cart before the horse. I forgot it wasn't before Baelor.
Yes,
it's after. So sorry, my bad.
Okay. All right. Okay. How dare you try to spoil something for me, Steve? You're my streaming brother. You know.
Sorry.
You were my streaming brother, Steve.
Sorry, I betrayed
you. It was
you.
said you would. I can't think of it.
You were supposed to be the chosen one.
You still read it. It's just after.
I know.
How long ago did you read this for the first time? By the way,
me.
No.
Nerdporeal. I read this. I think I read this about 4 years ago.
Okay.
So it's been a while. It's been a while since I read this. I think it was 2018. I think 2018 or maybe 2019. Roughly, it was roughly around that time. So there are certain things I remember, but I'll be honest, I forgot about that battle. I forgot about that battle going down the hill. I'm so ashamed of myself. I know, Pips. I know you're gonna be like disappointed in me. I forgot about that. I can't. I was like, why?
So much foreshadowing in it.
Yeah. So, but going back, I know we're going ahead. So they get to Berlon, and they go to this inn. And of course, I already talked about how Rand meets Dane Bornhold or something because of what Matt does, because they go out on the street. They go on the street one day. I believe we meet a new character. We meet Min. I'm assuming she's going to be a major character going down the line, like after this. So like she has the ability to like see like images like rotating like halos around people, like symbols or something. I don't even remember the symbols. It was a bit of a dump. But I think like she saw towers around land, and she saw like a something. I forgot what she saw around Matt, like a red thing, a red eye or something, or maybe that's not it. I don't remember. But she sees things.
She sees a red hand for Matt, a bloody hand, I think.
Okay, a bloody hand. All right.
An eye balanced on a scale, I think, is the other one, right? So, an eye balanced on a scale, a bloody hand.
I'm curious if that has anything to do with your Discord, the end of the red hand. I'm just curious.
Read and find out.
Read and find out. Okay, I'm gonna drink to that.
For Rand, she sees a funeral pyre and three beautiful women, right? Let's see. What other stuff?
Perrin, I think, has a wolf. Perrin has a wolf.
Perrin has a wolf. Yep. Rand also has does he have a sword that's not does she have a... I can't remember
if the sword of there's not a sword is in her first visions or not.
I'm too many drinks in here to properly remember this. I will say, planning on doing a tier list, and so we owe that to you guys. We're going to do a live stream at some point where we do all of Ms. Vision list on which ones they are, so you guys can help add which are the best visions.
Which are the best?
I like what Nosferatu is saying. Pips, I'll let you read this.
Nerdporeal drinking is awesome. He's slowly turning into Quint from Jaws.
I figure.
Hey. You know what? I said that. I said that about Jaws when we were doing our retrospective. I was like, you know what? I respect the amount of drinking that happened in this movie. Like those men, they were man's men, and they were like, hey, I'm gonna have the whiskey, and by that I mean like 4 fingers up to the brim of whiskey, please and thank you. Like, you know what? Life goals.
Yeah. I think that's the reason. I think it was after that stream that I was like, let's. I'm gonna do this. Why not?
I was getting watched on that stream, so I might have shown you how happy you could be in life. You could be sitting there getting totally.
And look at this. I'm happier now. I just had some. I was happy. I was really happy last night. I was happy enough to be driving while on someone else's stream. I actually drove while on someone else's stream. So
nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I couldn't mute myself. I mean, because I can't have my hands on the phone and everything. But still, I was happy enough. But I was sober. So yeah.
Streaming driving is drunk driving.
I didn't say that.
Excuse me.
So all right, so yeah, Burlon. I liked the whole Burlon thing. It was cool seeing them go into a city. We meet Min. Rand has his dream with Balzamon. His first dream with Balzamon. I believe he has, I think, 1 or 2 more dreams. I believe, if I remember correctly.
He has. This is a really, really good one that you're going to get just after Shadow Logoth.
Yeah, like I remember, like he's running from Balzamon. I remember there's one where he's literally running away from Balzamon and everything. Like here in this one, he's just like talking to him, and like I forget, Balzamon turns something into a rat, and then the rat's back breaks or something. And then what's funny is he wakes up after that, and then the cook woman, I forget her name, she talks about bats backs breaking because of her cat and everything, because her and the owner are arguing over the cat, and she's like, I'm gonna leave if you don't want me here, I'm gonna leave. He's like, no, you stay. It's weird. I remember that detail, which is probably not as important, but still. But yeah, and then of course they have the little dance that they do. Like they're all dancing. They're all dancing around each other, having a good time, having a ball. Tom Maryland's playing music and everything. They're dancing, and then unfortunately, like Rand just they leave Rand alone. He's in the quarter by himself. He has to go get some milk, and you're like, something's gonna happen. That's what happens. Well, a Murdral just appears and just starts slowly advancing on him, and it's like, what? Like they make it so when I was envisioning the Murdral sounding like a serpent or like a snake or something. Is that accurate? Is that how you guys envision how the Murdral sounds?
I don't know. I've always just sort of thought of them as silent, sort of, because or scream like I don't know. I don't know how I haven't, not serpentine, but just sort of like, I mean, I don't know how I describe them. I just know they're in charge of the army, basically, and just
it's a very compelling form of communicating verbally. That it's beyond an extent. I mean, that you can hear them talk, but I've always taken it as just like this powerful, compelling kind of speech.
Yeah, and they have the ability to to drive the fear of God into a person just to make them freeze. I don't know if it's just a psychological. Is it like a psychological attack, or is it like a physical thing? Like, in the
Borderlands they say the look of the eyeless is fear. So that's that's what
Yeah,
you get.
yeah.
But I will say that I've always thought that they probably have a somewhat kind of raspy voice, maybe, but probably mostly human, right? Like their voice is probably mostly human, just a colder kind of,
So, in other words, kind of later in life, Kathleen Turner.
Jesus
With
Christ.
rheumatoid arthritis too. Okay, that's Kathleen Turner. Yeah,
Okay.
low voice, hissing. Because I think I remember like the it says the Murdral hisses. That's kind of why I thought of like a
Yeah, I mean,
serpent or
I don't know. I don't know that it's sort of.
So one, they don't talk a whole lot in the books, right? Two, the like how they speak, because they don't talk very much, you don't really get multiple points of view on like assessing how their speech is. So you really get probably the most, honestly, might be from Rand in The Eye of the World, with some exceptions later that may be an actual exception, right? It's hard to tell how accurate those are to the group of Murdral. So you'll have to read and find out for that.
So
But
I know that Murdral, like they tried to attack the Murdral in Emmons Field, and they like the Murdral can like dodge, like the Murdral is like super duper fast, like they can dodge attacks. They're super agile and
yep. I think they're like a honey badger or a wolverine or something like that, where they can like turn in their skin and like can really very rapidly kind of move.
Yeah. And I remember during the battle going forward once again, when Lan is fighting the Murdral on horseback. Now if I remember correctly, the way that it was described is he decapitates the Murdral, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. So can you kill the Murdral? Like
you can. It says it actually in this book.
Like it says it takes a while for it to die. I didn't understand.
It takes a while for Murdral to realize it's dead. So
it has to realize it's dead.
Well, it's thrashing around and it's like I don't know,
Yeah.
sort of like I guess a snake. A snake isn't thrashing around and tries to kill you, even though it's dead.
Is that it takes until the next dawn for it to truly be dead. I don't know if Nate or Steve, I don't know if you guys remember something similar.
I recall something similar. It's an extraordinary amount of time. So it's like normal, like decapitation, where you see somebody kind of just it's not for 5 minutes and then it's done. It's
all I remember of it is just, even though you cut off its head, stay the hell away from it. It's not any less dangerous because it's headless. It just isn't gonna like hunt you down now. It's sort of it's not even immobilized. It's sort of just not thinking anymore. It's now just thrashing about. Right. So stay the hell away from it.
The biggest impact of it, though, is I recall, is that their influence though over the Trollocs,
if they're linked to a group of
immediately
Trollocs,
gone.
Yeah, if they're linked to Trollocs, that psychic connection is
and I think you see that for the first time in the battle that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So Lan chops their head off, and a bunch of the Trollocs fall down thrashing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lan is actually a badass.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
100% badass.
Oh no! Oh.
He can cut some ice with those nipples, though.
Oh no!
I think he decapitated the Murdral with his nipples.
With the laser beams from the nips.
Yeah, not enough time for this, because hearing that just makes me want to open.
You got plenty of time. I'm on like 4 by.
We only got like 6 minutes left, so
Brian, don't watch and find out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to. One of these days, when I'm done with the book, I'm gonna have to rip the bandage off with arm hairs on there. It's gonna hurt like a bitch, but it's gotta be done.
You'd have more fun waxing your testicles.
So can I?
Agreed. Yeah. I think
that took me by surprise. Excuse me.
Can I ask you a question here?
Sure.
So, first look at the Children of the Light. What do you think?
The Children of the Light,
AKA the White Cloaks.
The White Cloaks are a bunch of dicks. Like they're just they're a bunch of assholes. And,
See, I told you.
Should have been banned from Reddit.
Well, they should.
They got what they deserved.
Unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. For the
They
White
got what they
Cloaks.
deserved.
Suck.
Okay, excuse me. That was a drink. That was a drink. That was a drink
boy.
laughing. I didn't actually like. I'm not. I like you guys. You guys, White Cloaks. You guys are awesome. I like your takes and everything. So.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I have to put this up. I just it was but yeah, they're dicks. They're like the. How did you describe them? They're like the Spanish Inquisition. And I think they're also based off the Knights Templar. Is that what you said, Pips?
So,
that's what they're based off of?
Yeah, so I've been meaning to do a video about this. The Teutonic Knights or Teutonic Order is who Robert Jordan specifically said that he based them off of.
I don't know anything about those guys. I don't know about it. Are they similar to Templars?
Similar, yeah. It's an order of kind of Crusader Knights, this Europe. And really became the sort of power behind the throne of Prussia, later Germany. They still exist, actually. They're not a martial order anymore, obviously, but they do still exist. And then the Knights Templar, which similar, right? The iconography is very similar to both the Teutonic Order and the Knights Templar. And then the Questioners, who you see for the first time, through reference in this book. It's referenced. You don't meet them. Later you meet them.
So they're different. I was curious, like if the question, that was a question I wanted to ask you. Like I was curious if the White Cloaks are different from the Questioners.
They
like
fall
the Questioners.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the Questioners are part of the White Cloaks, but I've always considered them sort of like a parasitic organism that I think at some point in the history of the White Cloaks, the Questioners kind of latched on to them, and now they sort of exist as like a pseudo-independent sort of organization within the Children of the Light.
So they're kind of like the disease that's going on in Hollywood, right? That type of the mind virus.
I sort of feel like the Questioners were like a necessity at one point that has gone awry, and
for sure.
Yeah, they are the militant formation of the Zealots.
The best way I can explain it is just to use exactly what the book says, right? So the Children of the Light are led by the Lord Captain Commander, right, who is the highest anointed under the light, and then he has Lord Captains who are sort of the battalion commanders or legion commanders of the children, right? And they're responsible for different sort of areas. But there's also I believe, First Inquisitor, who is the Lord Captain responsible for the Questioners. And the First Inquisitor doesn't even wear the sunburst with the crossed crooks behind it, which you'll later find out is the symbol of the Questioners. Instead, he wears the crossed crooks. And within the ranks of the Hand of the Light or the Questioners, he's considered to be equal to the Lord Captain Commander of the Children of the Light. So that's why I say it's a weird sort of parallel organization within the Children. And like I said, it's modeled after the Inquisition.
Is it the same with the YouTube channels as well? Because there's the Questioner. I know there's the Questioners channel, and then there's the White Cloaks. Is it the same?
The Questioners are good people. They're good people.
Yeah. The Questioners in the book are not good people.
Are not good people.
Okay, are not good people.
If you're a Questioner, you're either fucked in the head or a dark friend. I guess it's probably the best way to go.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
The majority of them are either like wacko zealots, or
wacko zealots, like crazy over the freaking top,
there's no restraint with them, and that's what they tried to do with one of the White Cloaks in the show, and it was just ended up being retarded.
Yeah, basically a Questioner. Anything you say, they will find a way to make it so you are saying something against the light. So you could say the sky is blue. It's like, well, that's not what the light doesn't proclaim that it's the light proclaims that it's white. You're a filthy dark friend. It's like, what? So it's they'll do whatever they can to get what they want, basically, including lie, cheat, steal, manipulate the truth.
Dane
everything.
Bornhold is probably a good candidate to join the questioners, to be honest.
He's a piece of work. I mean,
Look, Dane Bornhold
in
the book is an idiot. We'll just say that.
Okay. All right. So,
idiot.
and of course, going back to of course, one thing we talk about is how Moraine pretends, or not pretends, but she casts a spell where she casts like an illusionary spell where everybody sees her become like a giant, and she just kind of climbs over the armament, the wall, the wooden armament and everything. So my question is for that was the moment she climbs aboard, then she becomes small again, according to the eyes. So did she just like run out the door for real? Is that basically what happened?
Yep, she just walked through the door.
She just walked through the door. Okay, I was curious about that. So, but it was yeah, that was pretty cool. And then of course after that, we're gonna cut off at chapter 18. I'm not gonna even bother with Shader.
Shader
Logoff. We'll do that. We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
I'm one chapter ahead.
That one as a whole.
I will say
Shader Logoff is a whole conversation.
I will bring up. Imagine having that scene of Moraine like literally, blocking a sword with her staff, using his magical powers, lording over and friggin' tricking these stupid men and doing this great escape, right? Imagine having that written for you and instead getting what we got in the show.
Oh no!
Sinking the Terran ferry, you mean? Yeah.
Just wait until
I like how you guys are watching that. You guys are gonna watch this with me. I know it's gonna.
I told you I would. I told you.
At least Steve will. So
wait until you see Moraine meet the White Cloaks in the show.
Oh man.
Okay.
That
just right away.
That saved us from seeing a giant Rosamund Pike, so I'm okay.
I'm assuming Rosamund Pike plays Moraine. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. She's a massive cunt in the show.
Yes,
oh,
the massivist.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. Okay.
Sorry.
Maybe. I don't know, Pips. Maybe when we do our stream, maybe we should watch Wheel of Time while drinking the whiskey or something.
Oh man,
they already do that.
You want to die?
Yeah.
All right. They're already half in the grave for doing the rewatch.
You're not ready for that. I've been spending my entire life for the rewatch. You're not ready for that yet.
Yeah, you may go into a coma.
I guess not.
When you pop it on, you probably want to keep the booze away, or you may die. Yeah.
I went through a whole bottle of my mead in one sitting in just watching 6-7 minutes of the show, and
well, when you charge towards
but I'm the lightweight compared to the White Cloaks guys.
Yeah, when we're watching something as intriguing as let's get on horses and ride at full steam towards a brick wall, Yeah.
Sure, you have 2 spare livers on hand.
Yes.
But yes. I think we covered. Did we cover everything? I mean, we covered the.
we
kind of covered the battle. I mean, we.
Well, and I remember you talking to me before this, going, "Man, I've never done one of these before. I wonder if we're gonna have enough to talk about." I told you, man. Once this gets going, there's going to be plenty. There's always plenty to talk about when it comes to Wheel of Time stuff.
Yeah,
there's always plenty.
I feel like we haven't even talked about what happened in these 19 chapters.
I thought we did. I thought we did. I thought we did. I don't know. I mean,
not the 19th. We're saving that for later.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, the things that we haven't talked about that never happened in the show, for example, Lan training the kids, specifically the 3 boys, right? Those are some fantastic scenes. Tom Maryland in the 2 Rivers talking about the stories and the history of the world. I mean, that's you learn so much there.
You learn so much about the world through Tom, and Tom just takes immediate shining to the boys.
Yep.
For whatever reason, he's just well, not for whatever reason. You get some backstory from him of why he's so protective of the boys. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm trying to avoid comparing it to the show, so till we get to watch it with him, because
I'm assuming Tom's in the show, right?
sort of. No, actually, he doesn't make an appearance.
Not the real one.
There is no Tom Maryland in the show.
There's a character
some
called
imposter.
Tom, just like there's a character called Rand, called
He
Matt,
sings
called
like
Perrin,
this.
called Egwene, called
He
Nynaeve.
sings and has a guitar and
Wow.
sings about depressing.
That's,
crap.
that's crazy.
He's like the Nirvana version of Tom Maryland, so we just call him Thumb.
I'm gonna kill myself. That's the song he sings.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm sure there's plenty I didn't include, but then again, we can only fit so much in a 2-hour window. So
Yeah.
But I liked one last thing I want to talk about was the battle, how they kind of managed to get away. It was because Moiraine's I liked her, like I think we talked about it earlier. I liked her wavy earth attack. That was pretty cool. And then I think she cast fire, and that's why the Trollocs all went down the way they did. Is that what it was, or was it something else?
The Trollocs all went down because the Murdral got decapitated.
Oh, so they're all
so
they all die as a result.
So something Murdral Fades can do or cannot do is Fades can control a fist of Trollocs up to that's like 100 Trollocs. I don't know. Fist
150, I think.
They control a fist of Trollocs by mentally linking with them. It's another thing they can't really explain. They just know that they can do it. So they link with them, and they can give them directions through thoughts.
So Trollocs are the Trollocs basically mindless, hence why we don't see another talking Trolloc, or no?
No, not like that. They can relay orders and stuff telepathically and force them to do things telepathically. So if a Myrdral is linked to a group of Trollocs and the Myrdral says go run into that wall, the Myrdral or the Trollocs have to go run into the wall. They can't. They can force. It's a way for Myrdral to force Trollocs to do stuff that they don't want to do. And they have better control over them. So, but if a Myrdral, Fade, whatever, is mentally linked to this group of Trollocs and is killed, any Trolloc that is connected to that Myrdral is instantly pretty much. Are they killed, or are they just like freaking just?
They're basically killed. Yeah, they fall on ground thrashing around, but they don't get backed up again. So it's a slow death, but they're dead. Yeah.
So that's what happened. Just so basically, Land killed one Myrdral and ended up killing up 150 Trollocs as well as Fallout.
Lady Balefire is making fun of you saying Myrdral, by the way.
Myrdral, Fade. That's why I say Fade. Myrdral, Midral, Fade.
But then of course they go to Shader Logoth because there's more. I think there's like 3 or 4 Fades advancing on them. They're advancing on them, and they have to hide somewhere.
So the general idea is that even the Fades and Trollocs they don't think will go into the city, right? So that's the reason they're going there, is that it's extremely dangerous, but they're hoping that the Trollocs, and you may or may not have gotten to the explanation of that yet. If not, then it'll probably be your next chapter. And looks like Lyle Hammock gave you a sweet super chat there.
Oh, Lyle, thank you so much for sending.
Lyle's a good dude.
Thank you so much for being here. I haven't seen you around. I miss you, buddy. But Lyle, thank you. $20. Hail chat. And here's something for. I'm gonna say Nerdporeal and all his great content. My current read through I'm doing of Wheel of Time. I'm about to start book 7. It has made me love this series, and it's now become second to only Lord of the Rings in my heart. Hail. Well, thank you, Lyle. Thank you for sharing this. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to say.
And Lyle's a good dude. He seems like he shows up in a lot of people's streams, does some stuff, and we appreciate you showing up, Lyle. And to be honest, Lyle, I know that he takes a little bit of a different view on some of these adaptations, And that's awesome. Honestly, I love that we have people who come in here with different points of view and come in and still say their stuff. So Lyle, it's awesome to have you on, man.
As a certain Corey would say, this is not an echo chamber. We will welcome disagreements. We will have conversations with you. We will not ban you or shut you down unless unless you make fun of Steve. If you make if you
I'm an easy target. It's okay. Sorry.
No. If you make fun of me, it's okay. But if you make fun of the panelists, then I can't have it.
I'm an easy target. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm a sensitive guy.
Lyle leaves some great comments on some of the videos and stuff too. I think he left a good comment on one of our last videos and kind of forced us to have to kind of justify our positions on some things. And I really like that Lyle shows up and kind of speaks his mind on some things and forces us to honestly be better. Steel sharpens steel, and Lyle is here making that happen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, once again, thank you, Lyle, for sharing that. That was beautiful. But yeah, and because of you guys' evil influence on me, working with me with House of the Dragon. I mean, that's why I'm reading this, and I'm actually because I'm paying way more attention with this reread. Like I am picking things up that I didn't pick up the first time, so I'm actually really enjoying this the second time. So
there's a lot.
Thank you guys for really well. I mean, you guys didn't really do anything, but you guys, not influenced me. That's a bad thing. Inspired me to read more and to read more and to really understand good fantasy.
Well, look
especially with all the pain that you guys have had to suffer.
Well, it's fun last year. It's just fun to talk about. I mean, it just is. I mean, because there's so much cool stuff going on, and it's funny. It's like and we'll talk. We could talk about the I guess the charge towards Shadow Logoth that I was talking about when we start talking about Shadow Logoth, but there are little bits in there that there's hints dropped all over the place as to Rand, what's going on with Rand and things that he's doing and stuff like that. So if you're paying attention, you get rewarded quite a bit. So it's just it's fun to talk about this stuff because it's so interesting and just transports you, man.
This is something I have to address. So someone named Piv said we texted him to coordinate, and he said, "Fuck you, I'm the host."
That Pips dude's a real asshole.
Unfortunately, Pips is absolutely 100% correct. I did say that.
Yeah.
I did say that because that's because that's the type of host I am. Like these guys are here because I forced them to be here.
It's true.
I'm like the kid from that Twilight Zone segment, the Joe Dante segment. Like the reason why they're smiling right now is because I'm forcing them to be happy.
Dude, it's worse than an Amazon NDA. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you think Amazon's bad? You think Amazon's bad? I could, well, no, I'm kidding. But
it's like he has a catch pole noose around our neck.
No comment. But yeah, so I think this is a great place to end the stream. So next time, I plan to do this in 2 weeks. So we're gonna start. So in 2 weeks, we're gonna cover the Shader Logoth. So I think that's chapter 19, and I think we're gonna go up to chapter 36. We're gonna go up to chapter 35 or 36, and that will be this. So that'll be so this will be a 3-part series for Eye of the World, and then depending on depending on where I'm at, I mean, I feel like I'm going to continue with this. I want to keep doing this, but as long as the panels, as long as these guys are available, maybe I'll bring in some special guest stars along the way too. We can keep doing this. So, let's start plugging shit away. So, Mr. Nathan, what's going on with you? You got anything fun going on? You got any projects? Got anything you want to plug? Chill, baby.
Well,
chill.
Only thing that I've got to plug for the moment is tomorrow on Salty Texas Seas channel is his premiere of the radio play production of the War of the Worlds. That's
happening.
I think all of us are on there.
We're all in it. We're all in it.
So it's going to be a blast. So tune into Salty's channel tomorrow.
11 a.m.
Take a listen to them. So yeah, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, and then all the other time zones appropriate. But it's gonna be awesome. Lady Balefire, I think that's 9 a.m. your time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, because she's
So
Pacific, I
it's
been right.
yeah, but it was a good time doing the recording, and it's been a lot of fun to do.
I
So
got to work with a director. And he told me to do another take. You know how that makes me feel? I felt like an actor. I felt like a real actor. So I can say I can say I have acting experience. I worked with a director.
I just thank God there was no casting couch.
That and there
and
I said this on Twitter.
Wait, you guys didn't have a couch?
I said salty.
It was a chair. Oh, sorry.
He told me, "You want to be a star, baby," and then the couch was there. He said everyone else did it.
He was a better director than or he's a better
Here's your oath rod.
What you sound like Jack Woltz from The Godfather. Like I had there was pussy everywhere and I had it all. Now you get the hell out of here. You know that guy.
Man.
But I loved but yeah, it was a blast doing this. So yeah, definitely tune in for the 11 a.m. Central War of the Worlds. I moved my Killer Clown stream to 12:30 p.m. Central because of Salty stream. I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to watch the premiere.
I will say I got a chance to listen to A Man of Manetheren, Nathan. I got to listen to his section post all of the effects and treatment that Salty's done to it, and it is fantastic. So I think that you guys are all really going to enjoy it. I highly encourage everyone to go check it out.
Yeah, I've heard other bits and pieces. Purple Valkyrie, Floral Under a Rock. It's out of the park stuff. I actually haven't heard any of your 3 parts yet, but I will tomorrow because it's gonna be badass.
Mine probably got cut out. Mine was left on the editing floor. He was like, "Not that guy." He appreciated my work on the casting couch, but less after that.
Yeah, it sounded like a mouthful.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So yeah, Dempsey says tomorrow is going to be a great day. I totally agree. Mm-hmm. Not 2 streams from me, 1 stream from Salty. Yeah, it's going to be a great day. So Pips, what's going on with you? What's going on with the Children of the Light? Are you guys gonna hunt any dark friends? Some Aes Sedai? What's going on?
Well, I'm back from a business trip, as you can tell behind me. I'm back in my home establishment. So I don't know. We may do some sort of a live stream this week. We'll see. Actually, shoot, I take that back. I'm back on a business trip again this week. I forget that I say business trip. It's not really business, but yeah, I'm getting sent on another trip on the road this week. So that may throw a wrench in plans. But we got the rewatch is going to come out Thursday. And Alex Green, our fellow White Cloak, is going to put out his TV ratings video at some point. And I think we have another review, sort of data science, White Cloak's Drunken Data Science. We have another one of those episodes, I think, coming out, looking at the reviews for Rings of Power and House of the Dragon and a bunch of other shows, and trying to extrapolate some information for those based on some, we'll call it proprietary modeling. So if you guys are interested, that's always something we're doing. But otherwise, I don't know. It's a kind of a quiet week until we get done with the rewatch, which we're close to being finished, and then we'll probably do more live streams and more book related content. So I really appreciate you doing this. It's fun to get back into the books.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you, Steve? My streaming YouTube after show brother.
Yeah, we'll speak. I guess we're doing a thing tomorrow, right after I get back from trick or treating with the kids.
Yeah,
you want to watch me be a wuss watching Halloween? So
Steve is going to see Halloween 1978 for the first time ever. And we're gonna stream his reaction, and then we're gonna have the serial horror chat. So it's
with the kids apparently. So the kids wrote me into this. So
and this gentleman here and his son are going to be joining us too, Dempsey and his son. So yeah. So once again, I'll probably subscribe to Steve, subscribe to Pips, the White Cloak, subscribe to Man Manethrin, and just subscribe to Dempsey. He's got some good music. Him and his son make music. Like they made a Metroid theme for me. I asked them to make a Metroid theme. They made it within a couple of days. They did their remix of Kraid's theme from the original Metroid. It's awesome. It's sick as hell. So you gotta check them out. I'll add their link to the description, but all their links are in the description. Subscribe to them, and yes, I get paid every time they get subscribed. So that's why I'm chilling for that. So that's truth. That's truth right there. So
True. Money well spent.
So, but yeah, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for kind of walking me through this because I didn't remember all the details. So
I never do. There's so much. My memory is like a sieve.
I'm in the middle of rereading it, and I'm glad I have my notepad here on my computer.
Yeah. Okay.
I am going through Path of Daggers right now on my reread. Where are you, Nate?
I'm chapter 42 on Eye of the World.
Oh, nice.
So,
just starting out.
How many chapters?
Yeah.
Do you know how many chapters there are in total between all 14 books?
Oh God, it's got to be thousands.
We'll say conservatively like 40 per book, right?
That's real conservative. There's 51 in Eye of the World.
Yeah,
real conservative.
Real conservative.
Yeah, it is 53. So I'm assuming about 12 to 1300.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm just starting Crown of Swords, so I'm right behind you.
Ooh,
I think that's one of the later
Crown
books,
of Swords
right?
is a good book. Crown of Swords
7.
is book 7, and I'm in book 8.
And that's where like things kind of really slow down. That's what I think after book 6. I think you guys told me no.
Crossroads of Twilight is the only book that's slow. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It's the only one.
I've had some people try and convince me the Path of Daggers is slow. I don't really.
I
agree
like
with that.
Path of Daggers.
I like Path of Daggers too. I like Winter's Heart too.
Yeah.
The only one I generally don't really love is Crossroads, but I've been told to listen to it and it makes a difference. So I am going to this.
It doesn't.
So.
It's still
Savannah,
all of the POVs that you hate.
Well,
Savannah,
but it helps because the voices just the reading of the text drives you through the book.
God, freaking
that's where it helps.
Savannah is the only waste of time character that I can think of.
But she has huge tracts of land.
All right.
Mounds go for miles. Okay, sorry.
Giggity.
All right. Yep. So so everybody, thank you so much, Lady Balefire, Aldan. I think this is the first time I've seen you in one of my streams. Chihuahua Dragons, Lyle, thank you so much for that super chat earlier. Anyone else? Gadfly Fiction. Thank you. I'm trying to think who else. So Dempsey's always awesome. Nosferatu. You're the humor behind the chat. Like you're I don't know. I can't.
He's like the fluffer. He's a fluffer of the chat.
He's the Gadar. He's the Gadar of. He's the Gadar.
Nosferatu's the fluffer of the chat.
He's the fluffer of the chat. And of course, Apollome's Minion and Louise X Sparrow and Leia Rose. And yeah, so everybody, once again, thank you so much. I'm going to be showing my opening, and then that's gonna be the end of the stream. So everybody, take care. Have a great rest of your have a great evening. Have a great rest of the week, and expect the next one to be in 2 weeks. So on Sunday, it's going to be earlier for the sake of for Pips. He's gotta get up early. So yeah. So all right, everybody, take care.
Good night. All hail the Lord Dragon.
Walk in the light.
Nice charm, Manethrin.
Damn it.